Please take a moment to locate the nearest emergency exits. Flight attendants, moderators, prepare for takeoff, please. All passengers are kindly requested to refrain from using portable telephones, televisions, CD players, or FM radios in the cabin. Because if you look away from any of this, I guarantee you'll be a little bit confused when you come back. We are going on a voyage. The voyage that Candace Wells has taken us all on. The in-flight movie is Superfluous, starring Candace Bly Wells, and we have many special appearances under the Fair Use Act. Please fasten your seatbelts and secure all baggage underneath your seat or in your overhead compartment. Buckle up, sit back, relax, and let me take you on a journey to remember. So this time it's all about you, Candace. Dawn doesn't let that happen very often, so I suggest you enjoy this. But it might be hard, because y'all have to show her in her true light, in all her facets, just like Dawn. The difference is, when I was going through all the different lives, all the different creators that Dawn has graced his presence upon, I just saw a total jackass, for lack of a better word. Now Candace, on the other hand, well, I kind of see someone who's sick, in a way, and needs some help. Oh, but it doesn't get you off the hook, my dear. Slow down. Because your daughter was lost on your watch. There's just no getting around that. No way, no how. You either, Grandma. We see you back there in the back. And you are just as guilty. Being a mother and a grandmother, it's like a silent oath. You know, it's deeper than till death do you part. Y'all are supposed to have her back. If nobody else in this world, y'all were supposed to have her back. But something happened on your watch, Candace. And what we want to know is what, and how, and why. So what we've been doing is taking a look at the family dynamic, just to try to understand. Because I believe that even if somehow miraculously she was abducted by a stranger, even if somehow it still was an indirect effect of her surroundings. So let's rewind and take a look at Candace.
What we got here is a major piece of the psyche of Candace's psyche, what's going on in her brain and what's most important. And it is falling outside of that, of human nature, of that mother bear syndrome that we expect to be in play here. And it's clearly not.
Here's the thing. It's gonna get a little redundant from here because Candace just won't tell us anything different. She is beating this story like a dead horse. Do we believe it is the question.
Did you say when you got the original call that mom went on a run and when you came back that daughter was gone?
That's what the father advised. He's at work about an hour away, trying to make his way home.
I don't go on walks around here or runs because I'm scared of the bears and snakes and even the coyotes that are around
Tonight,
here.
the mother of Summer Wells is speaking out. The 5-year-old missing for months and the subject of an Amber Alert says there has been a sighting of the little girl. Candace Bly releasing a statement on her YouTube page. She said before her Dr. Phil interview, Summer might have been seen in a southern state south of Tennessee, but nothing was ever found.
I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here. Me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay, and I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back. And within 2 minutes I came back, and I asked the boys where their sister was, and they said, she went downstairs, Mom, to play with her toys in the playroom. I said, okay. And I yelled downstairs for her a couple times, and I didn't get no answer, which was unusual because usually she always answers me. And so I went down there to check, and she was nowhere in sight. She was just gone. Well, whoever has my daughter, I pray and hope that they have not harmed her and they bring her back to us safe and sound. That's my baby, and nobody would ever treat her like that as long as I was around. Ever.
So I pointed this out before years ago, and I'm going to point it out again. Because although I have edited this video, everything that they are saying, they said. I did not doctor up anything. I did not. So with that said, if you were to go over to WJHL, if you were to go over anywhere and watch the full clips of anything that I'm showing you, you would hear what you hear. And what you just heard out of the clear blue sky was Candace tell us that no one would ever treat Summer that way if she was around. Now we got to ask ourselves, how exactly was she treated? What are you talking about, Candace? And if I were around, ever. That's what she said. So where were you? When did this happen? What happened? And where were you?
Did you do anything to Summer?
No.
What do you think should happen to somebody that did this?
They should be put away for the rest of their lives. I mean, they should be tormented, I think.
What about those fellows that live around there in the cornbread mafia?
She is feeling emotion here that we didn't see any other place in the story. So this
But
feels...
we don't know what it is.
That's
it
right.
could be fear.
That's right.
It could be guilt.
We can't read minds, we read symptoms, but those are pretty clear.
Scott asked you about the cornbread mafia. You got very upset when he asked you about that. Why did that upset you so much?
Because I don't even know what that is.
I'm sorry?
I've never even heard of it. I don't even know what it is.
And why would it upset you so much?
Because it sounds horrible.
Because that's not interrogating you. We're trying to help you find your daughter. I started this out by saying, I don't think you hurt your daughter. I'm standing up for you. I'm saying, I don't think you hurt your daughter. But I'm going to look under every rock. I'm going to go down every trail. I'm going to investigate everything. And if you want to find her, you would be right there beside me saying, right, Doc, let's turn this rock over. Let's ask this person. Let's consider this. It doesn't make sense to me that, I mean, you got up and left the interview when he asked you about that, and I didn't understand that. You want to find your daughter, obviously.
Yes.
And it puzzles me that you get so upset about that. And, you know, one theory is guilty knowledge, that you may know something you don't even know you know. You may be afraid of something that is so horrible you don't even want to think about it. And so you push it down and don't even want to think about it. But I want you to think about it. I want you to be willing to consider every possibility, because it's only when you think about the darkest possibilities that we can find answers. If you had to speculate, what do you think happened?
I have no idea what happened.
Well,
I don't.
You have to have some idea, because you took your daughter in the house and you never saw her come out.
Right.
Something happened.
I don't know what happened. She just was gone.
But she didn't just vaporize. Someone had to take her out of that house. And we know it wasn't you. We know you didn't do anything to her.
Right.
So if it wasn't you, then who was it? Let's rule you out. Okay, we've taken you off the chessboard. You're off the table. If it wasn't you, then who would be the next most likely candidate?
I don't know. I wish I knew.
Would it be someone, a stranger? Would it be somebody you know?
I don't know anybody that would have did it. It had to be a stranger.
Is there anybody you knew that has disappeared since this happened?
No.
That, you know, they were around and then this happened and all of a sudden they kind of moved away or they've gone away somewhere?
Nobody that I know of.
If I understand correctly what you've said, you took Summer in the front door.
Yes.
And you said to the three boys, keep an eye on Summer.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I went back outside to my mom's camper, which was right next to the house. And I had to fix her knee brace for her.
Okay. She had a knee brace on?
Yeah.
And that took?
Only 2 minutes.
Okay. And then what'd you do?
I went back in the house.
When you went back in, what'd you see?
And the three boys sitting there watching TV.
Okay. And no Summer?
No Summer.
Okay. What'd you do then?
I asked the boys where she was at. And they told me that she went downstairs to play with her toys.
Okay. Would she do that? Would she say, hey, I'm going downstairs to play with my toys, or would she just go?
No, she'd tell the boys.
What'd you do then?
Well, I hollered for her at first.
And no response?
No response.
So what'd you do?
So I went directly down there. I looked for her everywhere I could look. In the room, under the blankets, whatever. And she was gone.
Mm. All right. What's the way to get out of there besides coming back upstairs?
Just the basement door.
That back door?
Yeah.
Okay. And if that door opens, could the boys hear it?
No, if they had the TV up loud.
Okay. All right. Is she known to go out that back door?
She'll go out the back door, but then she'll circle around by her swing.
Okay. Back around to the front?
Yeah.
What we're seeing here is looking out that back door, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Now, there's a road there, a driveway? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, can that be seen from your mother's camper?
No.
Oh, that's the back side of the house. You can't see that from her camper?
Not that part, no.
You're saying then that this is the back door, and you're saying that there was a scent that went this direction. Okay, so for someone to drive away, they would have had to come on around the circle and exit here. Okay, so you think they would have walked on down through the woods to the road and left the car down at the road?
Candace, if you don't have guilty knowledge, if you know anything, this is your kid. You need to push this out, whatever you know, because you show signs that you're hiding something.
Well, I'm not hiding anything, though.
Well, the reason we think you're hiding something is because each time we've talked about the cornbread mafia, which you don't know about, that tears you up. You emotionally fall apart. We see signs of stress.
But I don't know anything.
Everything about your body language suggests, or it indicates to us, that you know a little more than you're telling us.
Candace, there are 2 or 3 really red flag things that make us want to know more. Not saying you did X or you did Y. There are lots of ways that things leak in your body language and your behavior, and that's what we're seeing.
Do you understand that we're saying we don't suspect you of doing something wrong?
Yes, I understand that.
It's important to me that you understand that.
Yes, I understand that.
You guys passed polygraphs. I've just the logistics of this thing. It just does not point to you. And if investigators pointing it to you, they're not doing the math. It just doesn't make sense. What I'm saying is, I think you know more than you're telling, and that may be more than you're consciously acknowledging. You may know things you don't know you know, or maybe it's too horrible to think about, but you've got to cut through that, because you do react to certain things that suggest at some level you know something more than you're giving a voice to. And we need your help to find your daughter. I guarantee you, when this is solved, and it's going to be solved, this isn't going to be a stranger. Any thoughts?
We saw a lot of differences in Candace as her movements, her cues are very small, because all she did was just dead-eye you the whole time. So our biggest focus was her respiration. And if you'll go back and look at some of this, as you start talking about the cornbread mafia, as you're easing up to that, we'll see your respiration increase. And again, like I was telling her, we'll see her adapters. Adapters are the things you use to get rid of that built-up stress or tension, anything that's a repetitive motion or action. And she was doing that here, very small. But then she started breathing heavily. That's what we saw mostly in her. The closer you got, the heavier she got breathing.
Now, she may have nothing to do with this child's disappearance whatsoever, nothing. But those red flag indicators and those kinds of things that say, why aren't you more forthcoming with information? Why don't you ask? Why don't you tell? Combined with, and you can see it very clearly on her as you watch the video, her jacket opening and closing because of how much respiration she has, and a little bit of barriering or needing more space, just makes you feel uncomfortable.
I think she has more knowledge than she's either acknowledging or sharing.
Yes.
Agreed.
One of the two.
We're on the same page.
And I believe that to the core of my soul.
I mean, we already thought that, but just tack that on to it and tell us what's up. Tell us what you know, girl. We know you know something. We just do. We all do. Well, at least we think we do. But anyway. This is about family dynamics, remember? Well, the pattern already is that she omits the truth, which is basically a liar. We call in spades around here, remember? She evades conversations or, topics, situations, I'm sure, where she has to be challenged. She gets worked up. It's deceptive. Your nerves are bad. That's what they say. Your nerves are bad. So why is it that everybody thinks you're hiding something, Candace? What are you not saying? We all know the old saying. If you lie, you'll steal. You steal, you'll cheat. Cheat, you kill, something like that. And family dynamics. And we've seen her lie already throughout this video. You've seen her deflect. You've seen her omit. So you have seen her lie. We definitely want to know why, but let's just point out the fact that she's done it several times. So she can't be trusted. I mean, think about it. Would you trust someone who lied to you over and over again? And then they lied in a slick way. Not that it matters, because a lie is a lie, right? But it does kind of seem worse when you slick try to act like you really didn't do what you know you did, and and you're oblivious and like play crazy. When you play crazy, it's insulting. Yeah, and I don't like when people insult my intelligence. And I think that's what Don and Candace attempt to do with us. They really think they're slick. But time will tell. Guilty knowledge is still guilty. So let's keep rolling.
Overall, what she does is she will focus on, and this is very, very typical when somebody wants to, when they want to skip over an event, but yet they still want to be truthful, because remember, our brain's default setting is to tell the truth. And when we go contrary to that, it creates stress. And so what our brain will do, it will send a signal to focus on superfluous truthful information, and people will start talking about all kinds of truthful little things that occurred, but then they will, and that's what we call slowing the pace. It really has no bearing, and they will then skip over what is most important here. And knowing from years of dealing with mothers that have lost children, and for whatever reason, missing person cases, deaths, whatever, we know what that is. We know what to expect from a biological mother in this type of situation. And so this is across the board. I don't care where you are, what country you live on, what language you speak, mothers will act the same way. And that's why we call this the mother bear syndrome. That's human nature.
Everything's in slow motion now. Thoughts?
Yeah, very, very similar to this. We call this. She's slowing down the pace. We call it. So psychologically, she's slowing this down. She, for whatever reason, does not want to get to the water hole. Her brain is slowing down, not wanting to get to the events of the water hole for whatever reason. I don't know what happened at the water hole, but I do know that psychologically it appears at this point that she doesn't want to get there. She'd rather talk about other things than actually what happened with Summer.
Everything's slow motion now.
So let's talk about this. I know you guys have seen enough movies, or some of you have probably experienced your own trauma, and you know about this slow motion effect that she just described. It doesn't come out of nowhere. So I'm trying to figure out why it hit her here at this place. Let me read you a little bit about this whole slow motion effect. They actually have a name for it scientifically. The phenomenon described is fascinating and mysterious, and it is commonly experienced by people during emergency situations. It is called paratraumatic dissociative experience, which means that a specific mental activity, such as time perception, splits from the mainstream of consciousness and functions as a separate unit at or around the occurrence of the trauma. Experts continue to study the phenomenon and to offer theories as to why it occurs. One possibility is that your mind and body are able to shift into hyperdrive during emergencies. In this mode, your perception of time slows down, which actually means that your ability to react speeds up. For instance, if you're the driver of a car about to have a collision, your altered perception may enable you to make multiple decisions, such as braking and steering, at a heightened level. If you consider that most auto accidents occur in just a few seconds, this ability to slow down time could save your life. Another theory is that when something frightening happens, the human mind and body may undergo a variety of altered perceptions, with slow motion being just one of them. You may also experience feelings of unreality, in which it seems as if you're in a movie or play, or out-of-body sensations, in which you leave your body and watch the scene from the outside. One thing is certain, the sensation happens at the actual time of the incident and is not just a trick of memory. The human mind is miraculous, and this appears to be another of its magical mechanisms.
We went to the hospital,
Right.
and picked up my mom.
Right.
And then we stopped at the smoke shop, and I got mom that twisted tea that she wanted.
Okay, then what happened?
And then she bought the twisted tea.
Twisted tea. How many?
Just one.
Just one. And bottle or can?
It's a can.
And when did she give you that?
As soon as we got out the car.
Right. As soon as you got down there. And did she have one?
No.
Did she have any alcohol?
No, because she had to drive.
Okay, so she gives you the alcohol.
Yeah.
Did you ask for it?
Not until after she got it.
Okay.
I mean, I never gonna lie.
No, okay, so after she bought it, you said, hey, can I have that?
Yeah, she just said yeah.
And she just kicked it onto you, gave it to you.
She does that. You can ask her.
Okay, well, I'll ask you, because you're the one, if she handed it to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I stopped at the hippie house and got me some smoked nicotine vapes, is what I got. I think we bought 3 of them, I think, I believe. And I set them right there on the council, and he asked for one. I said, no, you can't have none.
Did he take one?
I don't know.
Okay.
Honest to God, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she knows that Hunter likely took one, or she gave him one, because she only bought 3. She says, how do you know if one of 3 wasn't taken? I mean, you know, but the way that she phrased that is that when she has to say, I honestly don't, she could have just said, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And Chris, you and I both know from being in thousands of interviews, when they speak like that, I honestly don't know, or I swear to God, I don't know. That just tells us that you likely know. They have to, it's calling in the reinforcements. And when you have to call in reinforcements, it's a clear indication that it didn't actually occur that way. So
I honestly didn't see him drink nothing down here. I don't know what he's talking about. I really don't.
All right. So it's your word against his, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay. On.
Yeah, same right there. That's just what we were talking about. So,
yep. Yeah.
And that again, I mean, being that she's restated it, just backs it up. It just confirms it. What I was saying before.
Yeah. So is there terminology for that double up like that that you guys, use, or is it just the fact that she's hitting that nail one more time just to make sure that?
Yeah, it's just that it's just repeated language. Anything that's repeated is highly sensitive, and so she's repeated it at least twice now. And the more that she repeats it, the more we realize it likely is just the opposite of what she is trying to make you believe. It's likely just the opposite of that. Why the need to persuade you by repeating this over and over and over?
Now, what about the
vape?
Yeah, the vape.
Oh, we was both hitting it.
Okay.
There's just like nicotine vapes.
And when did she give you that?
As soon as we got out the car.
Right, as soon as you got down there? And did she have one?
No.
Did she have any alcohol?
No, because she had to drive.
Okay, so she gives you the alcohol.
Yeah.
Did you ask for it?
Not until after she got it.
Okay.
I mean, so, I never gonna lie.
No, okay, so after she bought it, you said, hey, can I have that?
Yeah, she just said yeah.
And she just kicked it onto you, gave it to you.
She does that. You can ask her.
Okay, well, I'll ask you, because you're the one, if she handed it to you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about, he said that he asked you for the tea and that you gave him a tea.
He didn't ask me for nothing.
Okay, I'm just...
He asked me for a Mountain Dew.
Okay.
I got him a Mountain Dew.
Do you go in the water first, or who goes in the water?
Summer was in the water because I was drinking the tea at the time.
Got it. Where were you at?
I was just standing around. Me and her mom was watching.
What are you talking about?
TikTok. Like, she was on TikTok looking at funny videos.
Okay. So what happened? Where do you guys go, and where's Summer going here?
We all walked down this path, me, my mom, and Summer.
All right. So all 3 of you together.
Yeah.
And is Summer ahead of you or behind you?
She's right here in front of me.
Okay. So walk me through that.
Oh, we're just walking down through here. I mean, usually, like I said, we go slow because of my mom's knee.
Okay.
Messed up.
Okay.
I was just standing here at the end, and then, well, the water's up a lot further than it usually is. Usually it's down. You can usually see all that wood sticking up out of the water. And she was just playing right here.
So you're down here, and all of a sudden now, Summer is doing what?
Summer's just playing in the water right here.
Okay.
I'm just standing right here. Well, the flowers that died that were there on that.
Oh, so there were a bunch of flowers here?
There's a bunch of flowers right here, yeah, on this little petal. I don't know what, I guess they've all died now, but.
Okay. And where's Grandma?
Mom's standing right here.
Okay.
And I'm over here close to the edge just because Summer's in the water. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing.
Okay.
And she's just playing, you know, like a normal kid would play in the water.
Okay. Normal kid. What do you think?
Yeah. So this is what I said earlier about her normalizing the day. I don't like what I'm hearing here because she said she's just playing like any normal kid would play in the water. And why that took extra effort. Why the need to say or to add in the words like any normal kid would play? Why not just say Summer was playing in the water right here? And she's pointing to it and reliving it. Summer was playing in the water. Why normalize it? Why say like any normal kid would play? It avoids saying what actually was occurring. There was something else going on. I don't like it. We hear this most often when people want to hide what actually was happening that day. And in this case, at that particular time, when Summer was in the water, whatever it was, there's something that was out of the norm. And that's what produces that type of language in a situation like this, in the context of something like this, when she normalizes it. There's a big difference in she was just playing like any normal kid would play in the water versus Summer was playing in the water. Very short, concise, simple, to the point. Takes more effort, and that's typically convincing language, a convincing statement, if you will. Well, she's shooting from the hip. In a way, she's shooting from the hip, because if it's something that is experiential, the words come out very concise and simple. It's just we can recall it, and we just say simply, Summer was playing in the water right here, and then that's it. We don't have to back up what we say. We don't have to justify or explain why Summer was playing in the water. And I'll go even a step further here. Candace said just before this, she said, I was standing right here, and she gives us a reason as to why she was standing right here. She wants you to believe she was standing right there because Summer was in the water. But for whatever reason, Candace had to give us a reason for being at the edge of the water. And that tells me, wow, why did she have a need to persuade me that she was at the edge of the water? It tells me, I don't think that she actually, there's a good chance that she actually wasn't, that there was something else going on, whether it was with Hunter or Mom. She's picking the flowers and had her back to Summer.
I heard that. I was like, she didn't even go into, because when she was playing in the water, I was literally taking the TikTok video just to watch, you know, and I did different things because that's how TikTok is. You can do different things with them.
Right.
And I was just taking TikTok video, and he come up out of there somewhere, and I was like, just splashed around, and then he threw up gang signs.
Do you know them?
No, I have no idea who that is.
Okay.
And then he started throwing up gang signs, and I'm like, so I moved it back away from him as quick as I could.
Chris, you notice how much detail she gave to Hunter's actions? All the things that Hunter was doing. He was throwing up the gang signs. He was splashing Summer, whatever else it was. Detail after detail of what Hunter was doing. What was Summer doing? I would expect to hear what she was filming, what made her want to take that TikTok video. Summer was doing this. It was so cute. I just had to catch the moment. Summer this, Summer that. And I'm not sure that I heard Summer's name even mentioned in that. That it was, Candace referenced herself. I was taking TikTok video, and then she mentions Hunter. I'm not sure she even mentioned Summer's name. I could be wrong.
Let's go back.
Okay. So this is where she is, though.
Yeah, this is where she is right here.
Okay. And how is she? What's her behavior?
Just jumping around, splashing, having a good time. Just like Summer would always do.
Okay.
I mean, that's how all my kids are.
Okay.
They just splash around and have a good time.
Does she go underwater?
Okay, I mentioned Summer.
You did. Yeah, you mentioned Summer.
Right.
She never mentioned her name, but you asked her what she was doing.
Yep.
And again, she normalized this, and I don't like to hear that. She said she was doing what she would always do. I mean, she said she was jumping around, playing. She was doing what she would always do. Why tell you what she normally does? That's an indication that she has, it's a need to persuade that that's what Summer was doing. In other words, this is what she normally does, so you should believe me that that's what she was doing that day.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't catch that till just now, till you said that.
It's quick. It goes by quick. And I'll back up a little bit more. This TikTok video that she was taking, she gave another reason for taking that video, because that's what I do or something like that. Another unnecessary explanation as to why she's taking that video. And yet there's no mention of Summer. What's going on that makes that video so important, so cute? What, as a mother, what Summer's doing, it's just so wrong that there's no mention of her sweet little girl.
So she's in the car, you're with Candace, Summer's in the water. Walk me through that. What do you see happening?
I just see her swimming like usual.
Who took this TikTok?
Her mother.
Candace. That's the video where she's in the water,
yeah,
and you're kind of on the beach there or on the shoreline there.
You see,
when she was playing in the water, I was literally taking the TikTok video just to watch, and I did different things because that's how TikTok is. You can do different things with them.
Right.
And I was just taking TikTok video, and he come up out of there somewhere, and I was like, he splashed around, and then he started throwing up gang signs, and I'm like, so I moved it back away from him as quick as I could, and I was videoing them flowers, and then back at Summer again real quick.
Does she go underwater at any time that you see?
Oh, she just dips her head in, but sticks it right back up. I mean, it was only up to here at the time.
I just seen that she was underwater for like 10, 15 seconds, so I was like, are you okay? And I pulled up, she said, yeah, I'm just swimming underwater.
Okay, so you see a point where Summer is underwater.
For like 10 to 15 seconds.
Okay, walk me through that.
So I'll go in calm as heck because I know she might just be messing around.
Let's go from the moment you see her, and what did you do?
I just throw my shirt down and just run myself into that water to see if she's okay.
Okay, so you got scared.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, walk me through those emotions.
I was just like, I don't really get scared or nothing, to be honest. I just get a little bit like spooked.
Got it.
Spooked. Okay. Like, how do I put that? Like, spooked. Like, I get a little bit like shook for a second.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. She got nervous.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And did you call her?
Yeah, I was like, Summer, but I don't know if you can hear underwater like that.
So can you see her underwater?
No, yeah, you can see her. I could see her. It's just that I was wanting to make sure that she was okay.
Got it, straight up. And what happened?
I just pull her up, bring her over my shoulders. I say, are you okay? She goes, yeah.
Did she spit up water or anything?
She did spit up water.
Was she laughing?
She was just laughing, yeah.
Okay. In that moment where she's in the water, how much time do you think, just a guesstimate, between the moment you saw her underwater and the moment you got her up out of the water?
At least like 4 seconds.
Okay, 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So what was Candace doing when Summer was under the water?
Talking to her mom.
And what was the grandma doing?
Talking back, looking for flowers.
What do you mean?
She always picks flowers everywhere she goes. She said that they were very pretty flowers and that she wished she could pick some of them. That was what they was talking about before I went to go grab her.
Okay,
there was flowers that my mom wanted to pick from here, and I said, Mom, you better not do that. It's a state park. You get in trouble for that if you get caught.
Okay.
I'm not getting caught for that.
Okay.
And I told her that, and so we just walked on back to the truck.
Okay. But then you noticed Summer.
Yeah.
Were you concentrating on Summer?
Yeah.
While drinking the tea?
Yeah, I was staying focused on her mainly.
So you're kind of like the lifeguard.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, or I mean,
No,
correct?
you're correct. You're correct.
Okay. Did you see her go underwater?
No, I didn't see her go underwater because she was showing me a TikTok that she done with the dogs and the dirt bikes.
Got it. Candace was.
Yeah.
So your focus was on the TikTok
For a second there, but then when I turned my eye that way, I just seen that. I don't know how long she could have been under there for, but I just seen her under the water and I didn't see her come back up, so
okay,
kind of shook me. So I was gonna go see if she was okay.
So you went in.
Yeah.
Okay. You went in to rescue her.
It could have been longer. It could have been shorter. She could have just went under there at that point. Like,
right.
I don't know.
So you went in to rescue her.
See if she was okay. Yeah.
And did you get her out?
Yeah, I got her out.
How was she when she got out? Did she walk back to the car?
Yeah, she would walk back to the car.
She seemed normal?
She just seemed perfectly fine.
Okay. She seemed like Summer?
Yeah.
Did it seem like there was anything wrong with her being under that water?
Not really.
Is she lethargic? Is she do you notice anything unusual about her?
I didn't know.
And I said, come on, Summer, we got to go get Grandma's prescription. And we just got back in the truck and left.
Okay.
And that's what we did.
Okay. Okay, so from here, where do you guys go?
Walgreens to pick up my mom's prescription.
Okay, is that the Walgreens right down at the edge here?
Yeah, right straight across.
Down here?
Yeah, when we turn to come down here, it's right there on the corner.
Okay, you get Mom's prescription.
Yep.
Then what happens?
Then I told Mom, I said, why don't we get a Sonic?
Okay.
Because it's hot out.
Right.
So we drove in there, got a Sonic.
Right across the street.
Yep, right across the street.
What flavors do you buy? Do you remember?
I think I got me and Mom a grape.
Mm-hmm. Is that your favorite?
Not my mom.
Is that your favorite?
That's my favorite. I don't remember what Mom got. She got, it's like a cool water or something like that.
Okay.
And then Hunter, I think, wanted the blue one, I think. I don't know.
Did you buy food?
Nope.
Just the slushies?
Just the slushies.
Okay. Then what happened?
And then we left from there, went to Priceless, and I wasn't even in there 5 minutes.
Okay.
Grabbed my milk, come right back out the door.
I think they was in the store for an hour, maybe.
Okay. They were in the store for a long time?
Yeah, a little bit long, but not that long.
And he was sitting there playing on TikTok like he always does.
Okay. All right.
And then I was like, Hunter, you're not coming to the house. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going back to your house.
Okay.
And I took him back to his house and dropped him off and left.
Okay, hold up. So that right there, that's highly sensitive language, and most people aren't going to catch that. They won't know what to listen for there. But she's actually, her brain has paused right there at this point in time rather than moving forward. And this is going to be withheld information. And unless she is in some kind of big hurry to get out of there, it's critically withheld information. She said, I dropped Hunter off, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here. I dropped Hunter off and I left. Instead of just saying, I dropped Hunter off and I went home, or I took Mom and Summer home, or whatever it is, and moving forward, she says, I left. And what that does is it stops everything right there. It tells me that her brain has stopped right there instead of moving forward, and she doubled up on it. And she said it again. I don't remember the exact words. I'm gonna have to go back just a second or two.
Priceless. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then I was like, Hunter, you're not coming to the house. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going back to your house.
Okay.
And I took him back to his house and dropped him off and left. And Summer was still awake when I left his house.
Okay.
So right there, she used that twice. And people that have been in my training will understand this, how significant this is. This is actually very a high level of sensitivity, and that meaning that she is not only skipping over information here, Chris, but this is critical information that she's skipping over. There's something that has occurred that she does not want to tell us, and we recognize it in her reference to pausing at that point of dropping Hunter off. She says, I left, rather than her brain moving forward. And so we just note that there's critically withheld information, at that point in time. I don't know what it is, but it has to do, she just moved very quickly from the water hole. She made a few stops, and she didn't talk a whole lot about that. Getting the milk slushies, at Sonic, and I think the prescription, wasn't it? And then she goes into more detail, quoting what she told Hunter. Hunter, I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm going to drop you off. You're not coming to my house. And I dropped him off, and I left. And she lets us know, for whatever reason, it's real important for her to tell us. And Summer was still awake when I left. Now, I think that is part of the contamination.
Yep.
I think she's speaking, she's answering questions that have arisen, or statements that have been made about Summer being asleep or deceased or whatever at that point in time, and she's answering that. So that's contaminated, and we have to take that into consideration here, and not give it as much credibility at that little part of that statement. But regardless of that, there's still critical information that she's wanting to skip over at this point.
And Summer was still awake when I left his house.
Okay.
And she was wide awake sitting up.
Okay.
Like, she didn't go to sleep until after we left town.
Did she change clothes?
Yeah, I changed her clothes because when I have the windows down, it could be 100 degrees. I'll have all the windows on. Roll up the window, Mommy, I'm cold. And she not be cold, but I still do it.
Is that part of Summer's personality?
That's just Summer.
Tell me about Summer. I want to know about Summer.
She's a happy little girl.
Okay.
She's the best little girl anybody could imagine. Just like, well, I don't really want to say her name.
Yeah, don't say her name.
But, happy-go-lucky. Nothing ever brings her down, hardly.
Mm-hmm.
It's really tough. It's been tough lately.
Tell me about that.
Well, every time I look around, I see her face.
Okay.
I don't know what else I can tell you.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but did it strike you odd that, especially being there in person, when you said, I'm glad you asked, tell me about Summer. And man, I would expect that you wouldn't be able to get her to shut up about Summer. And she gave you a few little things. She was the best little girl. And I kind of liked, I liked how she seemed genuinely endeared to Summer. She's the best little girl ever. And that's a good thing. And I believe her. I think that Summer was generally a great little girl, and she loved her. And I like that emotion that she had right there. But she wanted to cut it off. She instead of continuing to speak about Summer and how great a little girl and what she does and her fondest memories of Summer and those last moments with Summer, and the things that she misses about Summer, she just cut it off. I don't know what else I can tell you. It's just like, are you kidding me? Any parent can say way more about their kids than that. And so that was a conflict with me. That took me by surprise, because what I'm expecting is her to keep going. And then she says, I don't know what else I can tell you. And that took me back. And so unexpected tells me that she's, for whatever reason, she does not want to speak about. She's in the moment. She's there at the water hole. You're asking her about the context surrounding this, about the events of that day, and she can't speak about Summer. For whatever reason, she doesn't want to go there. There's an argument that it could be that it's too painful, to speak about Summer. But I'd take that into consideration. But man, it just really took me back that there should be much more to say about her sweet little baby that's missing right now.
Well, help me understand when you went home. Tell me about those dynamics that day. Take me back to that day. Yeah, on the way home.
On the way home, well, we were just sitting there talking, me and Mom, about everything pretty much. Trees, flowers, rocks. Whatever Mom likes, you know, pretty much we talk about. And I was like, what's Summer doing? She's like, oh, she fell asleep. I was like, oh, how's she sleeping? And when I look back, because I'm driving, and I look back like this, she had her arms up like this, like her daddy sleeps all the time.
Okay.
So I wanted to catch that moment.
Okay.
You know, it's just things I do.
Right.
And I was like, here, Mom, hurry up, take that picture. And then she accidentally hit the video record.
Okay.
Instead of the picture part.
She still got her arm up?
No.
Oh, that's what I was trying to catch. But...
Okay.
So like, did you catch it? She like, no, I accidentally hit the video part.
That's what you get for handing Grandma the camera.
Yeah. Well, I was driving though.
Okay.
And I was like, did you put her arm back down? She's like, yeah. I was like, dang. And then she got a picture of her, but by that time her arm was down. But her arm was up most of the time like this.
Right.
And we were like 2 minutes from the house when she took her arm down.
Okay.
Now, see, to me, this made no sense because, you know, Summer's asleep in the car and she wants to see or you know, memorialize how Don sleeps, you know, with his hand up over his head. You know, that was beyond you know, a $25 bingo card for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And how old's your oldest?
He'll be 13 in September.
Okay. So was he babysitting?
Well, technically they weren't really, they were watching TV and sleeping at the same time.
Okay.
And I was just going to run out for a second.
Okay, Candace, the simple answer here was yes. But if you haven't picked up on what these fellas are getting at, or Candace's way of lying, this is a prime example. She knows damn well those boys were babysitting themselves. There was no adult there. Don't matter if they were sleeping and half awake and it was supposed to be a quick trip and Hunter wasn't supposed to be there. Has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you left underage children at home babysitting. The answer was yes, but she was not going to say it. Superfluous. Exactly.
Okay. And how old's your oldest?
He'll be 13 in September.
Okay. So was he babysitting?
Well, technically they weren't really, they were watching TV and sleeping at the same time.
Okay.
And I was just going to run out for a second, and we never even planned, I didn't even plan for Hunter to even be with us that day at all.
Got it.
He just called and was like, want to come over for a second? I was like, yeah, I'll come over for a second, but I got to get right back to Mom. And that was all it was a quick second thing.
Got it.
And he's like, Mom, can I go with them? I'm like sitting there shaking my head like this, and I was like, I don't care. So I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Okay.
You know, I didn't even think nothing of it. You know what I'm saying?
She shifted to Hunter and gave more detail about the conversation and the context of Hunter. She spoke very little about Summer, just that they went up and I don't remember the exact phrase, but she opened the door, unbuckled her seatbelt, and got her out of the car. And that's basically it as far as Summer goes, but a lot of detail with Hunter.
And I always take them kids. Every time they call me and ask me, come get me, I always come get them because their mom don't do nothing.
Now, the other thing here is that she said something that's significant that we often hear from people when something has happened that makes them feel like they are not a good person. In other words, when they've done something wrong, they have this need, because part of human nature also is that we want to be seen in the best light. And if we don't feel like we are seen in that light, or we know that we've done something wrong, and psychologically we have this need to build ourselves up. So what she did here is what I call a good gal statement, the good guy statement. She told you, I always take them kids everywhere because their mama don't do anything for them, so I always do it. She's telling us what? that she is this nurturing person, that she's this nurturing mama to the other kids, she's denigrating Allie for sure. They have this beef, so I get it. But the point is that she's making herself out to be this nurturing, loving person to Hunter and his siblings, and which makes her a good mama. And why would she even have the need? Why didn't she just say, yeah, Hunter came with us. He asked if he could come with us, and so his mom said yes, and so he came with us, and just leave it at that. But it took a lot of extra effort, time, cognitive energy to put in the phrase that I'm such a good person. I took those kids with me. I always take them with me because, again, another reason why she always does it, their mama doesn't do anything with them. And she's building herself up. Chris, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that language when people have done something or something has happened that they know is wrong, and they're withholding that it's happened, and they have this need to psychologically bolster themselves.
My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest two go outside and play with chocolate on the back patio. Do not let them go on the dirt in the backyard, and keep them close. I am completely sorry because we were entrusted with her children, and they came to us and they became our children, and we named them.
And so they will use some type of phrase like this that makes them the good mom, the good person, the good guy, the hero, something like that they're building themselves up.
You know, there was comments about Gannon getting pushed off the hike, and there was comments about this, and that's just not true. I took care of Gannon for the last 2 years in our home because his mother didn't want to do it.
And when in reality, most people won't do that. You just don't hear that. But you do hear it mostly from people that have a need to rehab themselves.
Okay, walk me through when you got home.
Okay.
You unload the grocery. What exactly is going down there?
And then when we got to the house, I locked the gate, went up, and I woke her up. She got up, I unbuckled her, she got out of the car. We went and grabbed the boys from the house to come help us with the groceries.
Yep.
Because I always have them come help me do something.
And now, who was home when you got home?
My 3 sons, but we all go in my house first because we sort out my mom's groceries from her groceries. Okay. We always do.
Yeah.
And we did that, and Mom walked back across, and me and Summer were putting groceries away and watching TV off and on, and just chilling with the boys, hanging out, and then we decided to do some laundry. Because laundry, my kids, they got 80 pairs of pants, 80 pairs, each one of them.
Okay.
So, doing laundry at my house is like
a job, right?
It's a job.
Right. Do you have a bulldozer?
No. Sometimes I wish I did.
Okay.
That's just
got it. That's okay. You're doing laundry.
Doing laundry.
Yes, but not the nasty stuff from the swimming hole. There's just a big old gap and I can't find it. But something else happened. I'm literally scratching my head right now. And I can tell you right now, one thing you never want is to have these investigators scratching their damn heads. But even though we're going to hear this story over and over and over, you are never going to hear some things.
What we expect from Candace is to be reliving this in a very concise and simple and matter-of-fact way, and also have this linguistic disposition towards Summer that is very endearing. And so we're on high alert for this endearing perspective from Candace.
But what you won't hear is how she came home and did all these things.
Me and Summer were putting groceries away and watching TV off and on, and just chilling with the boys, hanging out,
but never undressed Summer out of the hot clothes or the wet clothes or any clothes. But we see these clothes, clean as a whistle, but they weren't washed, she said. The swimsuit, the tracksuit, Should have been evidence, technically, but she's got them. We don't know when Summer was taken out of them. Did she hop in the tub after being in that nasty water? We lost some time. So we got to put it together. When did you do the laundry?
You unload the grocery. What exactly is going down there?
Candace, she's building up to this this situation of being outside, and this is a very critical moment, because this is the time that that Summer disappeared. And so what she has to say about this point in time is obviously critical to the case.
Well, I bring my kids out and we all unload the groceries, but we all go in my house first because we sort out my mom's groceries from her groceries. Okay. We always do.
Yeah.
And we did that, and Mom walked back across, and me and Summer were putting groceries away and watching TV off and on and just chilling with the boys, hanging out. And then we decided to do some laundry, because laundry, my kids, they got 80 pairs of pants, 80 pairs, each one of them.
Okay.
So, doing laundry at my house is like
a job, right?
It's a job.
Right. Do you have a bulldozer?
No. Sometimes I wish I did.
Okay.
That's just
got it. That's okay.
But
you're doing laundry.
Doing laundry and stuff, and kids are all sitting there watching TV, chilling.
She's going to give you a reason for being outside, and she's going to double up on that reason for being outside with planting flowers and things like that. So that's coming up.
And I stepped down, I noticed Mom was sitting on the step, and her step is like literally from here to that tree, from my doorstep.
Okay.
I can literally walk over and be right there.
Okay.
And she's like looking around. I was like, "What's your problem?" She's like, "We got to get these plants transplanted into bigger pots."
Okay.
Okay, I get it. So the laundry was right before they went out to transplant flowers.
And so we did that, and I don't know, it took us a while. Probably 30, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, I don't know. We're not real fast people. We don't.
Okay.
And the Summer, we got done. We washed our hands real quick.
Yeah, what's that mean?
So what she's doing is she, out of all the things she could say, she chose to tell us that she washed her hands real quick, or we washed our hands real quick. So she referenced washing, and in the grand scheme of things, washing your hands is something that we all might do, but we don't stop to mention that we took a shower, or we washed our hands, or brushed our teeth, or these mundane things like that. And because she referenced that she washed her hands, this most often when I hear it relates to a cleansing of sorts. And I've heard it in all kinds of cases, from burglaries to domestic homicides to you name it. I hear this language of cleansing. And so she chose to say that she stopped to say that she washed her hands. And so I'm on alert. What are you cleansing yourself of? There's something. And it relates to this significant point in time. And we have to remember, this is a very significant point in this whole thing. This is when Summer disappeared.
Yeah.
Why does she have this need to cleanse at this point in time? Psychologically, she's cleansing. So high alert, red flag.
Washed their hands, got a piece of candy. Then she walked Summer back over to the house to be with the boys. That makes it seem like they really were home quite some time before Summer went back in that house.
About how many hours was that before she was reported missing?
I really can't tell you all the time details, because time gets away from you when you're trying to enjoy yourself.
And what time do you get here about, if you remember?
I couldn't even tell you, to be honest with you. Time is... I don't keep track of time.
No, I understand.
I mean, I get up in the morning, I do my thing with the kids, and then...
What she's doing here is she's giving you an excuse of why she is going to skip over time. Time equates to information. So she's giving you excuses of why she's going to skip information for whatever reason she doesn't want to tell you. She says, I don't keep track of time. I get up in the morning, I do my thing with the kids, and then we go to bed. Wow, that's like skipping the whole day. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear just what happened that day. And I don't want to hear her skipping information, skipping over time. That's what she's doing here. She's laying the foundation that she is going to be able to skip over information for that day. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
And time doesn't always get away from you, only when it's convenient. But tell us again how much fun you were having, because it didn't seem like that.
We were waiting on my mother's prescription from the drugstore at Walgreens on Fort Henry and Moreland Drive. And Warriors was straight across, so we just figured I'd take her over there to go swimming for a little bit while we waited on my mom's prescription. We weren't even there but 20 minutes.
And from the look on her face that she's given this reporter, she meant that. She knew exactly what she was saying. 20 minutes.
Okay. She had a knee brace on?
Yeah.
And that took?
Only 2 minutes. Okay. And then we left from there, and I went up Moreland Drive because I had to pick up a few things. I was in the store for maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
She does keep track of time, but so this reinforces what I was saying earlier about there's information that she wants to skip over, and it's that need to skip that information is strong enough that she is telling you right now, she's hoping that you'll buy it, that I don't keep track of time, so I can't give you all the information. I can't give you the times, and I'm going to be skipping over time because I don't keep track of it. And so I know now for sure that there's things that occurred here that she doesn't want to tell you.
But it was just a quick run. It definitely wasn't fun. Somehow it became fun when that question was uncomfortable, and I think just anything came out of her mouth.
So this missing time is really an excuse to leave out information. That's what you're saying.
That's what it is, exactly.
But anyway.
And then we all got back in the truck and went and got mom's prescription, and I took him home, and then we came home. Grabbed the milk and some cheese, and I don't remember what else I bought.
Okay, and that's the foodless?
No,
or
priceless.
Priceless, okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then I was like, Hunter, you're not coming to the house. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going back to your house.
Okay.
And there's also something now leading up to this thing with Hunter going back home, and that she wants, it's a kind of a teaser, if you will, that she wants to get rid of Hunter, and maybe that's too harsh a language, but she doesn't want Hunter to be there. So I don't know where that came from.
Got it, roger that. So from there, you go back to Hunter's house.
I drop him off.
Explain the milk. The picture of
the milk, it was sitting right there beside Summer.
Okay.
Because when I handed it to Hunter in the car, he was on the outside. Oh. I said, Hunter, put this on the other side of Summer. I just set it over there.
Okay.
And she was wide awake sitting up.
Okay.
Like, she didn't go to sleep until after we left town.
Did she change clothes?
Yeah, I changed her clothes because...
Go ahead.
So I don't know what the sensitivity is to her regarding this milk, but she just went into great length to explain why that milk was sitting next to Summer, or why Summer was next to the milk. She went into great explanation on that because Hunter was sitting in a certain place, and so I don't remember the exact wording, but that took a lot of effort. And I think she gave a couple different reasons as to why things happened within that short amount of time there that she was explaining all this.
The milk, it was sitting right there beside Summer.
Okay.
Because when I handed it to Hunter in the car, he was on the outside. Oh. I said, Hunter, put this on the other side of Summer. I just set it over there.
Okay.
And she was wide awake sitting up.
Okay.
That shows me that there is a very high sensitivity regarding that milk. And I don't know what it is in her brain that there is such sensitivity. I'm not sure if it's from contamination or not. I don't know. All I can say is that huge sensitivity regarding where the location of that milk and somewhere being next to it.
Yeah, there's a critical point to that, isn't there?
There is.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%.
And so you have all these, we call them sensitivity indicators. It's not that I'm sensitive about a certain thing. When I say sensitivity, it's mean I'm feeling, if I was the one speaking, I'm sensitive about it, meaning I'm feeling some anxiety, some angst about what I'm saying. And it's raising the stress in my mind and in my body. And so that's a sensitivity indicator. And there's a lot of them. And those are key. If you can recognize those sensitivity indicators, you can recognize overall, you'll learn to recognize the scripting. Scripting, they try to make it sound as if it's a normal thing, and oftentimes they will actually use the words normal and usual, and other times they won't, but they'll describe what is the normal or the usual.
Grandma's house, and she asks Grandma for a piece of candy. She always does. Okay. And of course, Grandma gives it to her.
Sure.
And they think that because that is what normally happens, that we'll accept that is what happened in that particular incident. But that's just not the case. We're not going to accept it. If they didn't say that it actually happened, we're not going to accept it. We're not going to allow them to get away with that. And so, Chris, you described it perfectly a little earlier. We're looking at the reasons the brain is producing the words or phrase that it does. What's psychologically behind it? What has to be going on in order for those words to be produced in that context and at that particular time? And, truthful language there's nothing in there it's just concise, it's simple, it's to the point. There's no sensitivity, there's no angst about it. But deceptive language, scripted language, it's riddled with it. The thing that I get the biggest kick out of when I see scripting is that they will give the story, and then a good investigator will ask a really good follow-up question. Explain this in more detail. In this particular case, what do you want us to know about Summer? And they will have almost nothing to say.
Tell me about Summer. I want to know about Summer.
She's a happy little girl.
Okay.
She's the best little girl anybody could imagine. Just like, well, I don't really want to say her name.
Yeah, don't say her name.
But, happy-go-lucky. Nothing ever brings her down hardly.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I look around, I see her face.
Okay.
I don't know what else I can tell you.
Because they have to manufacture it, and it's very difficult to do, on the fly in a split second, and they just absolutely have nothing to say. They can't answer it. So a lot of indicators are scripting, and you're going to see a lot of that in this narrative tonight.
I have some opinions, but they're my opinions. You have yours. I think collectively, as both who have investigated major crimes like this for a long time, we're going to see some pressure coming here.
Yeah.
From mostly from themselves, because they've got to keep carrying that message that all is well over here. Nothing to see here, move along.
Right. It's the old adage that a web of lies, and it's difficult to keep up a narrative. If it's true, you can keep it up the rest of your life, but if the narrative has any deception within it, man, it is hard to continually stoke that fire. It takes emotional and mental and physical energy to continually keep that stoked and keep that momentum going. And at some point, most people just crash. They cannot maintain that. So you're right, Chris, that if they can't maintain it, if Candace can't maintain it, Dawn can't maintain it, it will change. And you'll see that change by default, just like you said, because they are watching these shows too. They are learning from us. And this is very typical. They're not the first ones. I personally think that there's going to be more breakdown because this takes a toll on you. If you're hiding anything, it's just so difficult to maintain, and physical, mental, emotional, there's going to be a breakdown.
Why would
Man,
she...
shut your mouth, you little bitch.
Shut up. You shut up.
Make me honk. Make me cut.
At this point in the video,
Look, you know what? Hey, Daisy.
Yes.
I love you. You're a beautiful creature of God.
Yes.
And that little bitch right there, she got a cease and desist order coming next to her, bitch.
I don't know what to think about Candace. I believe that she and Dawn are one and the same.
Get it, bitch.
Watch, cut.
Go get it.
Watch, cut.
Yeah, I'm a man.
I believe she is a product of her upbringing.
I think I grew up I grew up too fast when I was little. Yeah. Like I had to do stuff and had to protect myself from, well, not trying to be rude, but inhumane people.
Really? Like, what do you mean, like, inhumane? Like...
Well, I remember one time it was somewhere in Wisconsin, I think it was at Eau Claire or something. They put me in this group home. And I was only probably about 12 years old, I think.
Uh-huh.
And I remember sitting up on the top bunk. And the song come on, and I can't remember the name of the song. Oh my gosh, what's the name of the song? If Only God Knows Why. I think played. Mm-hmm. But I sat up there, and they did not ask me if I needed anything to eat, anything to drink, if I needed any sheets or anything like that.
Wow.
It was a very evil place, and I'm like, all these other kids were way older than me, and because I was so young, they would push me around. Well, eventually, I told my caseworker when I was little, eventually they moved me to a real foster home that actually cared about kids.
In her environment.
Brenda, isn't it nice to see her smile? It is beautiful. It's very nice. You're great. You two, both of you are. Both of you are. Absolutely were.
See the Mountain Dew bottle? That's what I'm drinking.
Yeah, right?
Well, it's a 2 liter, so you might as well.
Of a cold, calloused mother.
I always promised that I would try my best to take care of my children better than what my parents did for me. Yeah. And I'm not being mean on my mom or nothing like that. I love her to death. She's a sweetheart. But there are certain things I won't say because it's just not right.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that to her.
Of abusive relationships. I do.
And I had a class ring when I was with my first kid's dad, and he got mad at me and took it and threw it out in the garden. I could never find it ever again. And he was a very evil man. And I was 18 when I met him, so I really didn't understand how love and relationships worked, right? So I moved out there with him, and he lived on his dad's property. And he would literally tell me to run through the swamp, and he would shoot above my head with a shotgun. I was very terrified, but I had 2 kids with him, and he would psychologically abuse me. He would always be like, well, if you leave me, I'm taking the kids, and there ain't nothing you can do, and I love my kids, I didn't want to be away from my kids. I tried everything, to make him happy. He would, come home from work, and we lived in this little itty-bitty camper, a little itty-bitty camper. And he would come home from work, and if supper wasn't done, and he didn't like the way
I peppered it or salted it or whatever it tastes, he would slam it against the wall and like, he would say, "You dumb," saying all kinds of hateful crap.
Let me read you this. Emotional immaturity is when someone has a difficulty controlling their emotions, accepting responsibility for their actions, and coping with difficult situations. Do y'all know anybody like that?
You have to forgive her. You have to pray for her. You have to forgive her.
But I can't.
But the Lord says to.
Because she's told me in the beginning
the Lord says,
that she was my friend.
But the Lord says pray for your enemies.
Oh.
I know.
Here are some signs of emotional immaturity. Impulsive behavior, speaking out of turn, touching things they shouldn't, outbursts of anger.
Make me, bitch! Make me shut the fuck up!
Or leaving abruptly when uncomfortable.
We'll stop. I want you to feel comfortable.
No, I want to go home.
Oh, no.
Emotional immaturity can be caused by abandonment, neglect, exposure to abuse, or growing up in an unstable family home.
I've had a very troubling childhood and kind of a traumatic teenage life that I usually don't tell people about. I was in different group homes and foster homes and stuff, because I acted out when I was a kid because I didn't think my family loved me.
Don could have totally set her up for the kill.
I know what that's all about.
I don't understand why she would do that to me.
Because it looks like...
It really hurts me.
It looks bad.
And I think he knew that. I think when he called to check, because he did call. We know he called. Hunter and Candace both said that Don called. So we know he called.
Did that happen?
He called me and asked how everything was going.
Okay.
And how soon we were going to be home.
Okay.
Candace said he just wanted to check and see how long it'd be before they got home. Don said after he talked to her, he decided he would just go ahead and work late. That tells me that you were either off work already or you were about to be off early, because that would be the only case in which you would decide to work late. So for me, that's a problem because your work day was officially over, in my opinion. So you could have been already gone. You could have been at home. You could have been in that dog trail. Okay, so this is not about Don, but it's about how Don could have set Candace up. Maybe. I just feel bad for Summer because she was a victim before she became a victim of circumstance.
Summer was my everything. I loved her to death. And everybody's like, you don't care about her, but I do care. I do want to know what happened. I know.
We've seen Candace in many different facets, but every once in a while, she turns it up a few notches.
I'm sitting here being mad at Smiley.
Are you?
Call the police on my husband, you little bitch. Fucking. Ooh, sorry, Daisy. I don't mean to cuss.
Okay, let it out.
Fucker.
I got hotter than hell.
She had no right to call TBI or FBI or the police. You know, I'm calling her bitch ass out. Come on, Smiley. Why? Bet she won't come up here. I bet she ain't got the fucking gut. Yeah, come on, Smiley. What's wrong with you now? Here I am. Y'all want me? Here I am. Come on. You got something to say? Here I am. I'm sorry. I'm alright. And I'm sorry, Daisy. That crap pisses me off. And if anybody else in the chat's got something to say about it, come on. Jump up on. Sorry,
You're mad.
Daisy. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, I am mad.
You could say she turns into a whole other person.
All right, what is it now? My name's on here. What is it now?
What's your deal? Why are you gonna call the police on my husband and TBI? Why? What is wrong with you?
Hey.
Yeah, you did on your live. I heard it. Don't lie.
I sure did. I didn't call him on your husband. Let's get the facts straight. Now,
First off, you have no reason to call TBI or FBI or law enforcement. You a snooty ass little bitch. No, it's about you acting like a dumbass bitch, and I'm sorry. But you're not gonna call TBI and FBI on my fucking husband because I got a black eye, you dumb bitch.
Make me stop. Make me stop. You gonna make me stop?
Alright. Okay, you want me to make you? You really, you know what? You know what? You know what, bitch? Listen here.
I took her down. I don't want you to get that upset.
God dang it, Daisy.
Oh, you want me to bring her back up? I'll bring her back up if you want me to. I just want you to calm down a little bit, okay?
Baby.
End up dead too?
I'm bringing you back up, Smiley.
Am I gonna come up dead? I've had two. A Molotov cocktail in my backyard. I've had one in my front yard. I've had a private eye in my trash can. No, don't tell me. I've had Robin.
Smiley, do you not realize that she has a child missing?
The one she don't care about.
You
really, bitch? Really?
You don't know that.
You think I don't care about Summer? You are a fucking retard, bitch.
No, you're a retard.
No, you are.
And
let me tell you something. You know what? Let me tell you something. You're not even worth the ground I walk on because you're a fucking goddamn skank.
You're a skank. I don't bring men home from the damn dollar store, bitch. And I don't fuck Jose.
The dollar store? Where the fuck did that come from? The dollar store.
One that is timid and naive and very easy to be manipulated by.
You know, I've been in this hole twice now.
Help me understand that.
Well, once when my mom called me and said that they couldn't find my little sister, Rosie.
Okay.
When she disappeared. And that was heartbreaking. But my daughter, that's twice as worse.
Right.
You might as well just rip my chest out, throw it out there for the fish to eat because it's worthless without her.
And then there's the other side. It's like Dawn with a vagina.
Welcome to my house.
You welcome to my house, you fucking new breed fucking bitch. Because you know why I can't talk to her right
because
now?
you know I'm right, bitch.
Talk to her right now.
Would you all just leave these
Do
people
you know why
alone?
I cannot talk to her right now?
Because you a skank?
No, because I've tried to call you, bitch, and I've tried to talk to you, and you don't want to.
You ain't trying to call me hooker?
Why would
Man, shut your mouth, you little bitch.
Shut up. You shut up.
Make me honk. Make me cunt. Make me bitch. Make me shut the fuck up.
You shut up.
Make me, bitch.
You shut up. You make me.
I'm sorry, Daisy and Chet. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
It's hot and cold, y'all. It's hot and cold. It's extremely abusive behavior.
I'm sorry that you feel this way about us, but we love our children with everything we have. And I'm sorry that you guys feel that way, but that's my baby, and nobody would ever treat her like that as long as I was around. Ever.
Just looking at the picture you painted.
It's just, it makes no sense. The only thing that can come to my mind is that somebody snuck up there in that yard and took my baby girl.
What are the odds of that?
What are the odds of that?
From your perspective?
It happens all the time, all the way around the world.
I'm not questioning that it happens. I'm just asking you from your perspective, in your property, living up there as long as you have, Candace, right? What are the odds that that happened?
It doesn't matter where you live.
Right, but because you were so far in the hollow that they don't
It
think
don't
that.
matter. What is that little girl's name? I can't remember what her name is. Oh my God, Trinity. Is that her name?
Yeah.
The one that come missing in Hawkins County that her uncle had.
Oh, Carly Trent. Carly Trent.
Carly
Yes.
Trent, yeah. I mean, look at that. They were in the country.
Unfortunately, that's right but wrong. They were in the country, but that was a familial abduction. It was her uncle by marriage, and he picked her up right from the school because his name was on the paperwork. He told them she wouldn't be back tomorrow, so that triggered off the Amber Alert. Not the same, Candace.
Take a guess.
50-50.
Okay. What would be the 50% that it didn't happen? What are the other possibilities?
I have no idea.
Okay. Could she have walked away and fallen?
Knowing my daughter?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, I know you're chomping at the bit.
Yeah. That was a great question you asked her. What are the odds? And if she was committed to, she really thought that somebody came up there and took her. And by the way, you didn't ask her. She volunteered. The only thing I can think of is that somebody came up on on my property or the property and took her. She volunteered that. That was already in her mind. That's her story. She was ready to give that to you without being asked. And then you ask, what are the odds of that? 50-50. My goodness, that's like saying, I only halfway believe that somebody came up and took her. But yet, they are trying to sell that as that's the absolute, that's what happened. But perfect question. She just told you what she really believes. Yeah, that probably didn't happen. Otherwise, it'd be 100%. That's the only thing that could have happened. That's the only way that she could have disappeared is somebody took her. There's no other way. She just told you that there's a real, very, very good chance that that's not how Summer was taken. That's not what happened to Summer. Something else happened to her. I'm so glad you asked that. And that's just, that right there, Chris, is like, that's the mic drop right there. It's 50-50. My focus has now, all those red flags that I said and then the high sensitivity indicators, I said, I'm willing to take them off the board if later on she gives me a reason to do that. They're all sticking. They are all glued to the board, Chris. There's no talking me out of that. It's her language. She's the one. I believe her. I believe what the brain reveals. And that's what it's revealed is that she's not buying it, so I'm not buying it.
Okay. What would be the 50% that it didn't happen? What are the other possibilities?
I have no idea.
Okay. Could she have walked away and fallen?
Knowing my daughter?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Okay.
No. My daughter never goes out into the woods because we've taught her there's dangerous snakes, there's bears, there's packs of dogs, there's coyotes, there's everything magical out there in the woods that could hurt you.
Okay.
In my heart, I believe, now this is just the way I feel.
I respect that. Totally respect that.
I feel that somebody has got her hid out somewhere.
Okay.
And is keeping her away from us.
Help me understand why that's in your heart.
I didn't know how many sex offenders lived around me that were only 8 minutes from my property.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Right.
For instance, that Dobbs guy that was supposed to be camping across at my neighbor's house.
Right.
He was there that same time. And then Tony Hammonds, whoever the hell he is, he was down through there.
Who was there when you got home?
There was nobody there. There was my mom mentioned the blue van across at my neighbor's house, but I just figured she had company.
Okay.
I didn't know about that was the guy that was trying to move in there. I didn't know that at the time.
Okay.
And so I didn't think nothing. I just figured it was neighbors. I had visitors.
Okay.
You know, I didn't think nothing about that.
and she would never ever go anywhere than that swing that's on that tree.
Now, what about this call, allegedly, that Hunter says came in? Well, he said there was a call that Dawn made to you while you were in line. Okay.
Because you have
who went inside the store?
Nobody went in. We went through the drive-thru.
Got it.
The drive-thru. And then while we were in the drive-thru, her husband calls her talking about this dude named Andy or Andrew on the property that's been there for like a week or so, she told me, that keeps stalking other kids.
Who's that?
Some dude named like Andy or Andrew. I have no idea who it was.
Okay. And why did Don call?
I have no idea. He just called. I don't even know if he was working at the time.
Okay.
But if he was working, he obviously wouldn't know that there was some dude looking at the little kids. So where her phone is in the middle of the truck, you know, the console part.
Okay.
It was right there, and he called, and she said everybody be quiet, so we all was quiet. Her mom was going through her phone. I turned my phone off till she was done to see if I could listen in on anything suspicious or anything. And then after she got off, I go, what do you call about? She goes, there's been this dude, I know it starts with an A for sure. I just can't figure out the rest of it. I don't know if his name was Anthony, Andrews, or something with an A.
And tell me about that conversation.
All I heard was...
And how did you hear it?
I heard because I asked her why he called.
Okay.
The only thing that she told me from the phone call is that there was some dude, Andrew, Anthony, Andy, whatever it was. Just the name A.
Okay.
That's all I remember. Is that he's been up on the property for a week or two trying to, like, I guess she said touch the little kids. That's what I was told.
He's trying to have what?
Touch the little kids.
Touch the kids?
Like give him a hug or something.
So why would Dawn, in your opinion, call Candace while you're in the line at Walgreens to say there's some dude on the property wanting to touch the kids? Help me understand that.
I mean, at first I thought because he calls her like every 2 hours because he works.
Okay.
I thought he was just doing his daily checkup.
Okay.
But then she told me about that. I was like, how does he even know that if he's supposedly working?
And what did she say?
I didn't say that. I was just saying in my mind.
And in your mind, what did you come to? What did you deduct?
Deduct? I thought that was just suspicious.
Did that happen?
He called me and asked how everything was going.
Okay.
And how soon we were going to be home.
Okay. Hunter relates that he mentioned to you that Dawn had said something about somebody around the property. Is that true?
That is so...
Okay.
Sorry to say, but that's a bunch of bullshit.
Okay. All right.
I'm good with tech. I know where everything you can hide is. And so I went through her Google Photos, if that's what you want to call it.
Okay.
The gallery part.
Okay.
And so where you can delete things, they don't just delete, they go to your trash. And so when I looked in there, I seen 13 messages between her and her I'm gonna say drug dealer because he is, Andy. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to name his name, but yeah, all I seen was the first message before she started walking up to the mailbox to get up here is that it was done, and I was gonna read the next message of what she said. And she just started running up here, and I literally just slid my phone in my pocket and just put hers there. It's like, she asked me if I went through her phone. I said no. Why? Because I cleared it all out before she can get up here.
Did you tell TBI all this?
Yeah, I told her.
Okay. So why would Dawn, in your opinion, call Candace while you're in the line at Walgreens to say there's some dude on the property wanting to touch the kids? Help me understand that.
I mean, at first I thought because he calls her like every 2 hours because he works.
Okay.
I thought he was just doing his daily checkup.
Okay.
But then she told me about that. I was like, how does he even know that if he's supposedly working?
Somebody could stand there and lie to law enforcement, to everybody. It makes me so mad that it just makes my blood boil. I gotta stop. I can't do no more. I gotta have a cigarette. It doesn't matter what I say or do or try to prove to people. somebody's always gonna twist my stuff.
Right.
You know, I've been in this hole twice now.
Help me understand that.
Well, once when my mom called me and said that they couldn't find my little sister Rosie.
Okay.
When she disappeared. And that was heartbreaking. But my daughter, that's twice as worse.
Right.
You might as well just rip my chest out, throw it out there for the fish to eat, because it's worthless without her.
Go.
Because they have went through here and mowed and took down a bunch of stuff away from the power lines.
Okay.
But usually it's full up, you can't even see the road.
That day, though, how was it? Was it full up, or was it like this?
That day and a few days prior to that, they were working on this.
Okay.
So I've even come to a conclusion maybe one of them people have snatched it.
Oh, interesting.
Because they were all the way up here on
Yeah,
my
I see those, the path down there. I see the tracks
hold up right
down
there, Chris.
Okay, go.
Yeah, so I'm starting to see already some sensitivity indicators in there, and that's when she's providing reasons why something happened. The narrative that she's been driving is that somebody came up on the property and took Summer, and she has to maintain that. By default, she doesn't know who took Summer, and so she's obviously, everybody is suspect. Nobody is off the table. And as investigators, you and I both know that, hey, when there's a kidnapping, a legitimate kidnapping, and there's no suspects, that means everybody's a suspect. It could literally be anybody. And so now she's talking about the workers that were working on the road and working on the power lines. And she says they were working on this. And she says it's because they were working on that, that she says, I've even come to the conclusion that maybe one of them people snatched her. And then she doubles up on the reason why, because they were all the way up here on the property. And it's more of a convincing. She's trying to convince you that one of those people could have taken her because they were all the way up here on the property. And because they were all the way up on the property.
She qualifies that.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
She qualifies that by saying, I've even come to the conclusion.
There you go. Right.
And that's an emotional indicator.
Yes, that's it right there. So now I'm seeing, okay, this is convincing language. He's trying to sell you, Chris, it could have been one of those guys, and without knowing it, she's giving herself away because she's qualifying it when it doesn't need to be qualified, right? And so here we go. Now we're seeing these are some of the things that go unnoticed, and we're seeing these little sensitivity indicators already. Those qualifications, the reasons why when you didn't ask why, but she's offering them anyway. And so that's a good way to put it. Is the unneeded qualification.
And they were all the way up here to my light pole.
Okay. And you told TBI all this, right?
I told TBI this, yes.
Okay. And yeah, I can see the cars going by. That is not far from your property.
Mm-mm.
Is there a holler down there? I mean, is there a river of some sort?
The creek runs all the way around my property.
And how deep is a creek? Okay, just so it's like an inch, inch or two. Okay.
You'd be lucky to get wet enough to do anything.
Yeah, to pull the workers in, that's quite a feat, right? I mean, in terms of if you're cutting trees with all your co-workers, and now you got a 5-year-old kid, and it's like, what are you doing with the kid? Right? And you're trying to get that kid out of the arena, right? Out of the area of influence here.
That's a tough sell.
That's a tough sell, yeah, but it was on the table, right? I used to call that soggy bread. It's for sale, right?
I love that.
Put it in, see if anybody wants it.
Oh my God. No, we don't want no soggy bread. Keep it, Candace.
Do you believe that somebody that she knew come up here and took her?
You know what? I'm not going to say that on a live tonight.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah.
Because there's about 5 people that I have in mind right now, and that's all I'm gonna say.
All right, so let's pick it up from where, and I'm going to just use this little one. Is that okay?
Fine.
Okay, so from where, when you got home, now she's leaning.
My mom's truck parks here.
Okay, your mom's truck's right here.
Yeah.
And now from when you pulled up, when did she just fall asleep next to that?
She fell asleep, I'd say maybe 5 minutes on the road.
Okay, got it. And then, so walk me through, you get home, you take the groceries inside. Is Don home, by the way?
No, he's not.
Okay.
Actually, I parked the truck, and I opened both doors. It's really hard because this lawnmower his. But I opened the doors up, and I shook her. I said, "Wake up, we're at home." She jumped right up.
Okay.
Like nothing. I unbuckled her, and I said, "Come on." I said, "Mom, I'll be right back." Well, went in there, and got the boys, and they were sitting at the table. And I said, "Come on, let's get the groceries out." And we brought them all in the house, went through them all.
Okay, so you go into the house.
Go in the house. And
can I follow you in, or you comfortable with that? So this is the scaffolding you're talking about.
Yeah, that's my. That's
okay, so she comes up, jumps up, and goes right in.
Yep.
Okay, so what happens when she comes in? The boys are playing where?
No, the boys are actually sitting here.
Okay.
And they're actually sitting right here at the table watching TV.
Okay, so they're at the table watching TV. Okay.
They were all locked in. Nobody could get in. Nobody could get out. Kind of thing.
Okay, so she gets back home. The boys have been alone at home, locked in. Nobody could get in. Nobody could get out, kind of thing. And how is it that Summer comes home, goes down into that basement, and gets right out?
So, okay, watching TV. Where's Summer?
Summer, she was with me.
Okay, so walk me through that.
All right, well, we walked up in here and we got Josie, Wyatt, and Waylon, the boys. And then Mom, she took her stuff to her house, put her stuff away.
Okay.
And then, of course, me and Summer went back over, put our stuff away.
Okay. You went back in?
Yeah, me and Summer went back in the house. And then we were just doing normal stuff.
Okay.
On the house like we normally do. And I come out, Mom was sitting there at the time I come out, and I'm standing here. Okay. I was like, "What are you doing? What are you staring at?" She's like, "These plants, I gotta get them transplanted." I was like, "Well, Summer will help us," so I went back in. By that time, she was sitting on the floor playing with her toys.
Right here?
No, in the kitchen where we were just at.
Okay.
She was actually sitting on the floor playing with her toys at that time. I said, "Summer, you want to help plant flowers?" And she jumped up, left her toys a mess, of course. That's cool.
Yeah, well, that's what kids do.
We walked over here and we transplanted these cactuses from the little pots that they were in. And transplanted these ones here into this bigger pot and that one into that bigger pot. And then she took the rocks that we've gotten from different gem mines when we went up to Gatlinburg and stuff.
Okay.
And she's the one that spreaded all the rocks around in here. And then she put her puppies in here. She wanted Chase in there, you know.
Okay.
And then we went in my mom's where we can't get in there.
Yeah, that's fine. Went in there.
We went in there and got some candy and stuff she gets from Grandma.
Okay.
And I said, "Well, I'm going to go back over to the house." She wanted to go back, so I figured I'd go back, you know. And I brought her, I literally walked over to here. Like, literally walked right to here where I could see the boys and on the kitchen table. And I watched her walk in there. And afterwards, when she was already in there, I walked over, I said, "Quiet." And he looked at me and I said, "Watch Sissy, I'll be right back." And that's when I walked back over to my mom's and I was fixing her brace and stuff like that. And I said, "Well, Mom, I gotta go back over with the kids." And that's when I come back up into the house with the boys. Not that. I walked into here. I walked in here and them three were sitting right here in front with their eyes glued to the TV, like always. And I said, "Boys, where's your sister at?" "Well, she just went downstairs, Mom, to play." So I went over here like this, because this is where the stairs are. It's actually down under there.
Oh, down into her bedroom.
Our bedroom, and then hers is on the other side.
Oh, okay, in the basement.
Yeah, in the basement. And then I yelled, I said, "Summer, Summer." And she didn't, I listened for a minute, I didn't hear nothing. So I went like this, because this is how I would get down here. Oh my
gosh. Way to go.
This is my husband's room.
Okay.
And over here, well, it's a mess again.
That's all right.
But this is where Summer and little Waylon was, because Waylon's only 9.
Okay.
and they stayed down here. But yeah, I come down and I searched. I looked up underneath the beds under there. We can't really get on. I can't get on there.
Yeah.
But I looked under there, looked under every blanket I could possibly look under.
Yep.
And then I come over here and I looked on both sides. I didn't see nowhere. And I don't recall if this was locked or not. I don't recall that.
Okay.
But I know, it's hard on me. But I know I did come out here and I said, Summer. Because sometimes she'll sit right here and just sit here and play just for, And usually when she comes out and she goes directly that way up to the swing.
Oh, okay, so this is like her.
Yeah, she
where
just
she
walks.
come running out.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you can see the path here.
Right to the swing.
Right, you can see where she could have run right up to
and
here.
this is all the further she would go. She wouldn't leave.
Okay.
She wouldn't go out nowhere else.
So I wanted to let Candace tell us most of that story herself, but I had to let Hunter come in here because there are some discrepancies here, to say the least. Hunter says she went underwater and he went to save her. Even though it wasn't that dramatic, it happened. Candace says no, it didn't. Hunter said she bought the tea and I asked for it, she gave it to me. Candace says no, it didn't. Hunter said we both hit the vape. Candace says I have no idea. I swear to God. Candace and Hunter both agree that Don called, but about two totally different things. They agreed that Summer was awake. They agreed that Hunter may have put the milk jugs on the other side of Summer. They agreed he threw up gang signs. It just seems like she disagrees on the tough stuff.
There is a rumor about these polygraph tests. Clear that up.
All right, the first one that I took, and I didn't really take it because they kind of threw me in the back of the squad car, so I was really upset and, I was crying my eyes out.
Okay.
And so when I got up there to the courthouse, we tried to do it, but I couldn't do it.
Okay.
So we waited a few days, and then I went back and I did it, and I passed it.
Okay.
So that was that.
She contacts you again, says she's at the police station, has to take another polygraph.
And then she shows up the next day.
The next day she shows up where?
Here, does she not?
Well, so you were interviewed by TBI on Wednesday. She came here Thursday.
So 2 days after or a day after?
2 days after.
And then what happened when she got here?
She got here, she was like telling me how she talked to them and was like, don't mention about the alcohol, but I don't mention it.
Did she say what she told them?
No, but she started asking me. I just told them what happened on the timeline.
And what did she say?
She said, okay, that better be it. I said, you didn't even scare me.
Well, why would she try to scare you?
That's what I'm saying. Why was she trying to even ask questions about it?
What about the rumors of this relationship situation with Hunter?
Are you crazy? I got a husband and 4 kids that I love to death.
Okay.
To me, Hunter was another one of my kids.
Okay.
That's how I felt about any kid.
People typically have to defend themselves. There's been insinuations and that she has guilty knowledge, and I've called it out. I've said she has guilty knowledge, and so she's got to defend that. And because her narrative has not worked. There's been things in her narrative. There's just riddled with sensitivity indicators, meaning we would come to a conclusion of guilty knowledge. I can't say what happened. I don't know what happened, but I think that Candace, it's highly likely that Candace knows, and she has to sell the story. She has to sell the narrative, and so I probably should just leave it at that for now.
Got it. And now, from when you pulled up, did she just fall asleep next to that?
She fell asleep, I'd say maybe 5 minutes on the road.
Okay. Got it. And then, so walk me through, you get home, you take the groceries inside. Is Don home, by the way?
No, he's
not. Okay.
Actually, I parked the truck and I opened both doors. It's really hard because this lawnmower of his. But I opened the doors up and I shook her. I said, wake up, we're at home. She jumped right up.
Okay.
Like nothing. I unbuckled her and I said, come on. I said, Mom, I'll be right back. Well, went in there and got the boys, and they were sitting at the table. And I said, come on, let's get the groceries out. And we brought them all in the house, went through them all, did all that.
And this is her, that's her swing.
That's her swing right there.
Come show me her swing. Why is this, and who's
Hold
this?
up right there, Chris. She responded. She said, actually, I parked the truck. And just that word actually tells me that there's an alternative thought going on in her mind. She, instead of saying, I parked the truck, she added the word in actually. And so it's less of a commitment, but it's minor. So I won't go into much more about that. But she says, I parked the truck and I opened the doors. Is opening the doors really necessary to say? I mean, she could just say, yeah, we pulled up and I got Summer out and I had the boys come out. We got the groceries out and that's it. But listen to this. She is going to give us a lot of superfluous information, little detailed information that really is not needed. But there's a reason for it. So she says, actually, I parked the truck and I opened both doors. And then she says, it's really hard because of this lawnmower of his. And she's pointing to a lawnmower right there. And so she's saying, and then she says, but I opened the doors up. So she repeated that she opened these doors up. Chris, anything that's repeated is sensitive. And this is something that we see in, when you were talking about the scripting, there's something about this that is either not exactly what happened that day. It could be what happened another day and she's recalling. There's something about this that's sensitive to her because she has told us now, I opened the doors up, and if you don't believe me, it's really difficult for me to open the doors up, but I still did it. It's this lawnmower right here. She's kind of like digging at DW for one thing. He leaves his lawnmower here, but it's difficult for me to open those doors up, but I did it anyway. And I opened the doors up. More times than not, when they mention superfluous stuff, unnecessary detail, like an opening of a door, a car door, it indicates that they are likely going to lie to us within that statement somewhere. It's just because it's so unnecessary to say. We call it they're padding their statement with little truthful details. But I know that this truthful detail, because you have to open a car door to get someone out, to get your groceries out, but you don't have to say it. We rarely do say it. It's like most people don't say that they brushed their teeth. And so when I hear them say that, when I ask them, hey, what happened? And they start telling me that they, somewhere in there, that they brushed their teeth, I take note, because it's one of those things that I would say 9 out of 10 people are not going to mention that they brush their teeth, but we all do brush our teeth. Superfluous.
Yeah, the lawnmower, you're right on target. She's like, let me tell you about the lawnmower twice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Okay.
Actually, I parked the truck and I opened both doors. It's really hard because this lawnmower of his. But I opened the doors up and I shook her. I said, wake up, we're at home. She jumped right up.
Okay.
Like nothing. I unbuckled her and I said, come on. I said, Mom, I'll be right back. Well, went in there.
Right here.
And got the boys and they were sitting at the table.
She took a deep breath.
And I said, come on, let's get the groceries out.
Paused.
We brought them all in the house.
For a second.
Threw them all.
You know, you can see her swallow, right?
Yeah.
So it was almost like she paused for a second to process something. And it's very subtle, but, you know, it's just a second or two.
So went in there and got the
Right
boys
there.
and they were sitting
Did you see her? Did you see her swallow?
Yes.
So, okay, so it's almost as if mid-sentence she wants to say something, but is she processing, where do I go from here? And I don't want to read too far into this one, but when she, because I'm standing like 1.5 feet from her, when she stopped and went like that, you could, you know, right? Street has taught us, okay, what's going on here? right? Something's going on here. Why are we getting into real heavy
Truck.
pause here?
And I opened both doors. It's really hard because this lawnmower his. But I opened the doors up and I shook her. I said, "Wake up, we're at home." She jumped right up.
Okay.
Like nothing. I unbuckled her and I said, "Come on." I said, "Mom, I'll be right back." Well, went in there and got the boys and they were sitting at the table.
It's almost as if, okay, I got to interject the boys here for a second. I don't know. Am I reading too far into that one?
No, Chris, that observation, and I mean, you were there and you noticed it, and that's difficult to notice just watching the video until you pointed out that is a huge amount of stress that she's feeling. When we feel stress, our breathing becomes shallow, and so she was starved for air. She had to get some air.
So went in there and got the
Right
boys
there.
and they were.
And I bet also another physiological reaction is that we don't have as much saliva. And I bet her throat was a little dry because it looked like she had to take a little swallow, and it was difficult for her to take a little, to wet the throat. And
She absolutely did.
Yeah. So that is one of those things that strengthens what I'm seeing in the language right here. The sensitivity, which is stress in the language. And that mentioning of the lawnmower was actually just one of those things that was a tangible truth right there. The lawnmower's there, you could see it, and by her pointing out that the lawnmower was there, that's one of the ways that's a sales technique of, you should believe everything else that I'm telling you, because see, I'm pointing out how difficult it was. You can see that this lawnmower's right here. That's true. You can see it with your physical eyes. So please believe everything else is coming out of my mouth. It's also true. She's not processing all that information, but that's the way that it works. That's the way her brain is processing that. And so this thing about opening the doors, I think this is something that, in my opinion, is likely traumatic for her. Huge sensitivity there. And for whatever reason, Chris, I don't know, but I think that there was something about opening those doors that was not comfortable for her. I only speculate from there. An accident had occurred or something. I don't know, but I do know that was sensitive. And now, what makes that even stronger is what she said right after that, because she said, I opened the doors up and then there was something I couldn't understand, a word or two, and I said, "Wake up, we're at home." She jumped right up like nothing. Why would she say that? Why the need to say she jumped right up like nothing? That's a convincing statement. Why not just say we went in the house? No.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That
yeah,
took
you're right.
more effort,
too.
more cognitive, more cognitive effort and thought and energy. We usually speak via the path of least resistance, and that took more. And she had to sell it. So whatever it was about opening that door up is related to Summer, and she sold you. She was trying to sell that Summer jumped right up. She jumped right up, and then if you don't believe that, it was like nothing. So she doubled up on it. That tells me that there was something about opening those doors. I don't like saying it, but I don't think that Summer jumped right up.
It's like, well, they call that deception.
Correct.
But the bigger question, right, for us, you and I and other folks that have been in this game for a long time is what part at this point, right? There's so many, as I like to say, there's so many moving parts. Well, I was just, I'm teasing you. The dog's going to attack me. So this is the scaffolding you're talking about.
Yeah, that's my. That's
Okay, so she comes up, jumps up, and goes right in.
Yep.
Okay, how many cats? You know what? You should have like a zoo license. You know, I'm seeing all kinds of critters, which is good. Okay, where's Summer's bed?
Oh, it's in the basement.
Got it. Okay. So what happens when she comes in? The boys are playing where?
No, the boys are actually sitting here.
Okay.
And they're actually sitting right here at the table watching TV.
Okay, so they're at the table watching TV. Okay.
They were all locked in. Nobody could get in. Nobody could get out. Kind
Okay.
of thing.
Now who's this on up here? That's where nobody get in, nobody get out. Well, there goes the door open theory.
Right. She just totally defeated that narrative right there.
It's history, for sure.
Yeah.
It's history. Okay. Here.
That's my little sister that's missing.
Oh, that's Rose.
That's Rosie.
Oh, wow. Wow. And who's the guy?
That's her ex-husband.
Wow. Do you think he had anything to do with that?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to go there.
Can't say.
How's
yes
your
or
mom
no.
deal with that?
It's difficult.
Yeah, I know. You know I know, right? So, okay, watching TV, where's Summer?
Summer, she was with me.
Okay, so she had to think about that almost.
She did. Yeah.
Walk me through that.
All right, well, we walked up in here and we got Josie, Wyatt, and Waylon, the boys.
Right,
Well,
you put the groceries down, right?
Yeah, well, we went back out and then we brought the groceries in and put them down. And then Mom, she went took her stuff to her house, put her stuff away.
Okay,
And then, of course, me and Summer went back over, put our stuff away.
okay. You went back in.
Yeah, me and Summer went back in the house. And then we were just doing normal stuff.
Okay.
Around the house like we normally do.
Go.
Here we go.
I could go.
That's exactly what I was talking about at the beginning of the show when we were talking about the scripting language. And again, if, you know, as a parent, your daughter is missing, you're going to recall all those details of that day, especially all the funny and fun things and endearing things. Why couldn't she say what she and Summer did? And she doubled up on this, Chris. She said, and then we were just doing normal stuff around the house like we normally do. She said it twice, normal. And it's just, Chris, that is just one of those signs that we recognize. That's what people will do when they don't want to say what actually occurred that day or during that time. And so they will just say it was what we usually do, it's what we normally do, or they'll describe something that's normal or the usual. And in this case, she doubled up on that word. So I know this is highly sensitive. She's really trying to drive that narrative. And the narrative is, please believe me that that we were doing normal stuff on it like we would do any normal day. So please believe me that nothing else was going on. It was just the norm. Yet I don't want to tell you what we actually did. There's a reason why, and I want to keep that hidden, keep that locked up. I don't want you to know, but what she's doing here is she actually just raised the flag for us. Now that you know what to look for, she raised the flag, and it's like, uh-oh, she doesn't want to tell us what she actually did. She wants to portray it as the normal. Anytime I hear that, it's 99 times out of 100, it's going to be anything but the norm. She's trying to sell it, but she doesn't want to give us the detail about Summer. She's giving you a lot of other detail, walking you through and little details about the boys and everything, and that's probably all true. But she wants to leave out, for whatever reason, what she did with Summer.
This becomes a treasure trove for the detectives working this case, because they not only have locked her into a story her first couple of interviews, okay, and that's what we used to say, lock them in, okay, and whether it's a truth or if it's a lie, it doesn't matter. It's all evidence in a court of law. It all comes in because it's behavioral evidence.
And I come out, Mom was sitting there at the time I come out, and I'm standing here. I was like, what are you doing? What are you staring at? She's like, these plants, I gotta get them transplanted. I was like, well, Summer will help us, so I went back in. By that time, she was sitting on the floor playing with her toys.
Right here?
No, in the kitchen where we were just at.
Okay.
She was actually sitting on the floor playing with her toys at that time.
Now, that's interesting because later on in the narrative, right, she was... her brother said, well, she's down in the basement to play with her toys. Okay. So this must be another set of toys in the kitchen up on, not in the basement. Which, is this the first time she has to process, that piece of potentially the script? If that's true, then she has two sets of toys, one in the basement where she allegedly went, and then one up in the kitchen where she was playing with those toys when, Mom wants to plant flowers here with Grandma.
Yeah. Hold on. The key word in there, she used the word actually again. And it's one of those words that O.J. Simpson used.
I'm going to go back here. Hang on. I'm going to start from here.
At the time I come out,
good catch, man.
Okay. I was like, what are you doing? What are you staring at? She's like, these plants, I got to get them transplanted. I was like, well, Summer will help us, so I went back in. By that time, she was sitting on the floor playing with her toys.
Right here?
No, in the kitchen where we were just at.
Okay.
She was actually sitting on the floor playing with her toys at that time.
She's actually sitting on the floor. Wow.
Yeah. So it's, I mean,
dude, that is a good catch. That is, I mean, it was so subtle, and I've probably watched this thing 10 times, 15 times.
Yeah. And there's even more in there that she said that I'm just, for the sake of time, not calling out. But I mean, her quoting her conversation with her mom, she can quote that, but she couldn't quote anything from Summer or tell you what Summer was doing. And so we compare the two. It's like you said, we're looking for patterns, and so it all adds up. That thing about Summer being right there, that actually. It's one of those words. It's a dependent word. It means it's there has to be another thought. She's comparing it to something else.
Interesting.
Summer, you want to help plant flowers? And she jumped up, left her toys a mess, of course. That's cool.
Okay, right there. Chris, hold up a second. Remember, did you hear her? She said, and she jumped up, left her toys a mess, of course. And so there's more denigration towards Summer. So this now I'm seeing that. I've seen it at least twice now, this subtle dig towards Summer instead of reflecting on the positive things and the endearing things. It's a subtle dig towards Summer. So now it makes that trait that we're seeing that in her language, it's stronger now because she's done it at least twice since you've been there. And it's just, it's an alarming thing that for an investigator to hear. And we see it or hear it a lot when we hear a lot of victim blaming, particularly in more violent cases. And so this goes right along with that.
Which is almost blaming. For a child, we wouldn't expect this as much in a child case as to your point, maybe an SA adult or something to that effect, or something pretty crazy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We walked over here and we transplanted these cactuses from the little pots that they were in.
And they're cactus. And that story's changed twice because it was, cactus in these buckets here. And the other one was, flowers out in front of the house.
Flowers, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got two, locations. And I guess we could, argue that, okay, those could be called flowers, from somebody, or maybe grandma calls them flowers, but.
Nice try, Chris. But we all know that was part of the changing narrative when everybody went crazy in the YouTube streets, like, those ain't no damn flowers. Then they became cactuses. Anyway, back to you, fellas.
I planted these ones here into this bigger pot and that one into that bigger pot. And she took the rocks that we've gotten from different gem mines when we went up to Gatlinburg and stuff.
Okay.
And she's the one that spreaded all the rocks around in here. And then she put her pup.
So it's grandma's idea to plant these things, and it's Summer's idea on decorating them.
She wanted Chase in there,
Okay.
That probably did happen. Not necessarily that day, but it probably was something. And she didn't say necessarily it was that day. She just said Summer's the one that decorated all this or put these rocks in here, and she probably did. But we don't know when that actually occurred.
She asks Grandma for a piece of candy. She always does. Okay. And of course, Grandma gives it to her.
Sure.
Normalization, right?
Yeah, very good. More normalization. She always does. Yep. So it's just, she could have just stuck with, she asked Grandma for some candy and leave it at that. Yeah, why the need to add in, she always does. That's a convincing statement that Summer actually asked Grandma for candy. Why does she need to convince us of that? So now, do you see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
Why does she need to convince you and the rest of us listening to this, that she knows is going to be listening to it, that Summer was able to ask for candy and that she did it? It just sits wrong. When you understand the language and what's what's in the brain and what's producing this, it's like, we don't want to hear it. We want to hear just endearing, concise, simple language from her, positive linguistic disposition. I don't want to hear any convincing language. Why the need to convince? It's not right.
And she wanted a piece of candy, so Grandma gave it to her. We were sitting there for about, 5-10 minutes maybe at the most. And she was, Mom, I want to go back to the house with my brothers. I was like, I'm going to go back over to the house. She wanted to go back, so I figured I'd go back,
Okay.
And I brought her, I literally walked over to here. Like, literally walked right to here where I could see the boys and on the kitchen table.
Got them.
And I watched her walk in there to where I could literally see her walk into my doorstep.
Okay.
And afterwards, when she was already in there, I walked over and I said, "Quiet." And he looked at me and I said, "Watch Sissy, I'll be right back." And she walked in there, and there's a scaffolding that we have for steps. The yellow and black scaffolding we have for steps. Okay. And I put my hand on the scaffolding. I said, "Boys, watch Summer, I'll be right back." And I had to go over and help Mom. She was still sitting over there. And I had to go and get her knee brace and fix it for her because it was twisting and crap.
Okay.
It took me like 5 minutes, maybe 2 minutes, I don't know.
Okay.
She segmented this. Why the need to segment it? She could have just said, I walked Summer into the house, but that didn't happen. So there's a lot going on here. As Chris, you say, a lot of moving parts here. And for whatever reason, her brain is segmenting all these little things, and she has to provide a reason for going outside, and she's not specific about the details about taking Summer in. Her saying, I got up and I walked her back across to where I could literally see her walking to my doorsteps. It's a convincing statement. That word literally, and that adds to what I'm saying here, that the convincing.
Yeah.
There's not a red stain on that jacket. Everybody's talking about a red stain. Did she have a stain on that jacket that day? Everybody said there was a red stain on that jacket.
Do you see a red stain? This is the swimsuit right here that she had on.
Did you get to wash the clothes before or after she?
No, I did not wash none of them.
Oh, so they're just as what she left them?
Exactly the way she left them. I won't wash them because they smell just like her.
Yeah.
Oh.
I refuse to wash them.
I totally agree with not washing Summer's belongings. I wouldn't. I had a cousin that I lost when I was in high school. I kept his backpack for as long as I could, just because it smelled like his cologne that he was wearing all the time. And it made me feel close to him. So I totally understand it. And I respect that. I just don't know if I believe it. And let me tell you why. When they got home and did all this transplanting and the piece of candy, which was actually peppermint. Now, I find it hard to believe that if Summer was not missing at the time and she had just come home from a swimming hole, a dirty swimming hole, in a filthy little swimsuit, that you would have thrown that on in the washing machine too, Candace. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but the outfit that she was wearing in the car was said to be her first day of school outfit, which I also thought was very weird that they would let her put that on, because my mom would never. But wouldn't you want to wash it?
So, Chris, this is not working. If I was to do an interview, if I was the detective doing the interview, this is a key area where I would ask for more information, more explanation as to what happened here, because it's not working. There's something very sensitive here, and I can't say what it is, but there's something key here, and the fact that this is on the heels of her normalizing the situation of that's what Summer always does, is ask for candy. That Summer was able to do that at that point in time is what she's telling me, and then the convincing that she actually watched her walk to the door. It tells me that I don't think that she did that.
And that's when I walked back over to my mom's.
Okay.
And I was fixing her brace and stuff like that. And
She's providing a reason now after that for going outside and being outside, that she had to go out and help Mom with her knee brace and everything, when no explanation is necessary yet. That's what she's doing.
But my concern, when I first heard all of this, the impression I was getting was, I don't think this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she's selling it, not like salesman of the month here.
Key area, very sensitive, red flags. One might ask, well, is this because of the contamination? And I would have to say no, because this is almost identical to the story that she gave the reporter in the very beginning, when she first reported that Summer was missing. And the verbiage has changed just a little bit, but it's basically that same story and that same emphasis. She says, I watched her walk all the way back over there, or I walked her all the way back over there to the door, in that first report with the reporter.
me and my mother and her were planting flowers. And we went in after we got done washing our hands, and she got a piece of candy from Grandma, and she wanted to go back over and see her brothers. And I said, okay, and I walked her all the way over to the porch, and I watched her walk into the kitchen where the boys were watching TV. And I told the boys, I said, watch Summer, I'll be back.
So this is very similar. So I have to take contamination off the table here.
So fellas, here's my 2 cents. She had to press the issue of going back outside, because when they called 911, they said that she was outside, specifically on a run. But since she's scared of the coyotes and stuff, I guess she needed another reason to be outside, in my opinion. Back to the experts.
And this is just very highly sensitive area.
And I said, well, Mom, I gotta go back over with the kids. And Next thing I know, I said, Mom, I'm going back over with the kids, chill and hang out, whatever. And that's when I come back up into the house.
Okay.
With the boys.
Okay.
Not that.
You walked into the house.
I walked into here. Get up. I walked in here and them three were sitting right here in front with their eyes glued to the TV, like always. And I said, boys, where's your sister at? And I freaking asked her brothers, well, where'd your sister go? She was just right here with you. Well, she just went downstairs, Mom, to play. Well, she wanted to go play with her toys downstairs, Mom. I said, I think none of them, because that's where our room is, that's where her toys are.
Okay.
And after about a second, I didn't hear nothing down there. I was like, you sure she went downstairs? They're like, yeah, Mom, she went downstairs.
Okay.
And my boys do not lie to me. So I went around.
So again, she's quoting conversation, like I said, mentioned before.
Yep.
And she's telling us in the negative what her boys don't do. There's a lot of things what her boys don't do. But she says, and my boys don't lie. Why they need to persuade us that her boys actually said that my boys don't lie. That's a sales. She's selling it to you, selling it to all of us that are listening, that her boys actually would say, oh yeah, Mom, Summer went downstairs. That just tells me, oh, that's the sleazy salesman right there technique, and I can't buy it. It leads me to the other direction.
And what bothered me was the toys. You know, you've got a set of toys downstairs, and then she had said, 5 minutes before that, or whatever the timing is, it's almost as if, well, I thought she was, playing here why wouldn't she have just gone back into, with the toys?
Summer will help us, so I went back in. By that time, she was sitting on the floor playing with her toys.
Right here?
No, in the kitchen where we were just at.
Okay.
She was actually sitting on the floor playing with her toys at that time.
Why all of a sudden does this kind of grow into, I got to put her down in the basement? And when she's down in the basement, she vanishes.
Right.
With a big question mark.
What we're seeing here, I mentioned that she's providing unnecessary detail, providing details of conversation and things like that. And along with this scripting, she keeps going with this and trying to sell it hard. But what she's doing is she's creating time. She needs to create time to make her narrative that Summer was taken, to make it believable, to make it make sense. And she can't do that unless she creates time. And so she's slowing down the pace of the statement, meaning she's padding it with either things that are made up or unnecessary detail or detail about what they normally would do, not necessarily what they did that day, but this unnecessary detail. But Summer is absent in all that. She went back in with the boys, not back in with the kids, which would include Summer, just the boys. She slipped.
And I said, well, Mom, I got to go back over with the kids. And that's when I come back up into the house.
Okay.
With the boys.
Okay.
Not that.
She knows, her brain knows, and it gave her away right there. But she's creating this time which she needs to give the alleged unknown suspect time to get up to the property and snatch Summer. And she needs Summer to be down in that basement, because that's the only conceivable way that somebody could have snatched her, although everybody was locked in. All the doors were locked and nobody could get in or nobody could get out. So
Yep.
Explain that away. That's it. Again, that doesn't make sense. And we're going to see more sensitivity about that coming up. But she has to paint the story. And that's what she's trying to do here.
Upstairs, my husband calls it a bar, but it's not really a bar. I call it a mess. We built it over the staircase. I guess you could call it a bar, but it's not really a bar because we don't drink that much. So, but it was like where we put our TV stand and stuff like that. And I walked around because that's where the steps are hidden up underneath there. And I said, Summer. And she didn't answer me. I said, Summer, are you down there? And she didn't answer me. So I ran down the stairs pretty much. I was freaking out. I was like, why is she not answering me?
It's just classic scripted language. But you're right, Chris. This is a treasure trove of information for the investigators to use.
You know, I keep saying this, but it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh,
Why
sure.
do we do this? Because it is about Summer. It's not about Candace or Don. Okay, they are the parents of this child. It is 100% about Summer Wells evaporating.
Exactly. And just like these fellas here, I have an issue with the fact that it's like Summer was a non-factor all day. You don't hear anything about her. I mean, she was 5. She had to be talking her butt off. She must have did something cute and funny. She didn't want some water? Nothing? She never said anything except, Mom, I want to go back to the house with my brothers. To get herself into the house and vanish. It's very uncomfortable. It's all too uncomfortable.
Look at this environment, Din. And this is the middle of the day, by the way, right? And look at how much light just coming down into that stairwell. Okay, the only light coming in is through that window, and it's a one-way type of mirror type of glass. Okay, like the old observation rooms.
Yeah,
it's the same mirror. It's the same window type.
And over here, well, it's a mess again.
That's all right.
But this is where Summer and...
When I looked back into that corner back there, there's one light bulb. There was one light bulb back there.
Waylon was, because Waylon's only 9.
Okay.
And they stayed down here. And these are all her toys, all her Paw Patrol,
all her movies. There's the light bulb right up there in the right hand, just to the right. See the plug going in?
I see it. Yeah. That really is like, that's a good description, like a dungeon.
Yeah, it's a dungeon. It really is. It really is. This place was filthy. No child, none should have ever been in this environment. That's her bed back there in the corner, and it's in the corner. Another control mechanism. Okay, I've not said that before because I didn't want to, but that's her bed back there, and it's in that position. And Steve and anybody else, that's done this business for a long time knows that's the deepest part of the room, and that is a control mechanism of cornering that child. That's what they're doing. They're cornering her into that part of the room. The advantage to that for them is the escape route becomes more difficult to get out because they could hear her now, potentially, coming right through the crack between their bedroom and that door. If it was closer to where the bunk beds are, the boys are a barrier for Summer. And this goes back to the statement that Don makes. I told those boys, how many times have I told them, keep an eye on Summer? Well, what they've done is, and this is the first time you're hearing me say this, guys, but what they have done is they have put the boys in a position of advantage over Summer. Because if they're sleeping in the bunk beds, which she says they are, this is where Wyatt and the other, their other boy sleep. Well, what they're doing is they're actually acting as guards for Summer. Okay. Why is that? Why is that? I have my theories, and maybe she'll give us some more insight here, but this is this 5-year-old little baby's room. She's just not jumping up and running outside anytime she wants. That ain't happening. And nobody's coming in to this environment. Yeah. If she's playing in that corner, knowing that she's in there, quote, playing with her toys, that ain't happening. Go too far.
No, I'm totally in line with your thought process, and I'm going to kind of spin it a little bit different here. Mm-hmm. We know from Candace has told us that her favorite place was outside on that swing.
She loved to play in the mud and the water and swing on her swing, and enjoy dirt. She loved to be outside.
And that she had toys that were upstairs, right? I mean, it looked like there were toys everywhere. I can't really, from just watching, I can't differentiate between toys and just other stuff that's laying around, but there's probably toys upstairs. I don't know why any 5-year-old little girl would want to play down in the dark crevice down there and not versus being outside or up with her brothers playing toys there. And it just it doesn't make a lot of sense that she would want to be down in that dark crevice down there playing by herself.
But yeah, I come down and I searched. I looked up underneath the beds under there. We can't really get on. I can't get under there.
Yeah.
But I looked under there, looked under every blanket I could possibly look under.
Yep.
And then I come over here and I looked on both sides. I didn't see her nowhere. And I don't recall if this was locked or not. I don't recall that.
Okay.
But I know it's hard on me. But I know.
What say you on that, Steve?
Well, it's a direct contradiction to nobody could get in, nobody could get out.
And I can tell you why. David Dotson, the day he was interviewed, the story changed.
Did they tell you if the basement door was open or closed or locked or?
They told me it was locked, and the children even told me that it was locked. So, with that, the front door was the only way in or out.
And she pushed that narrative twice so far, and this is a direct contradiction to that. And I'm going to add something else in here too. What she was saying about Summer liking the Paw Patrol things, and she says something to the effect of, I know she likes them, so every time I go to the garage sale, I buy them for her. When I get any extra money, I spend it on the kids. And here we have her building herself up as a good mother. And, mothers that are good mothers, they don't have to tell everyone that they're a good mother. They just simply are.
Yeah, the part that caught me on that one, Steve, is I ran down the stairs pretty much.
Good. Yeah, I'm with you there. That takes away from the commitment that's actually what she did. I ran down the stairs pretty much.
And I said, Summer, and she didn't answer me. I said, Summer, are you down there? And she didn't answer me. So I ran down the stairs pretty much. And I looked, I blew up. I went everywhere looking for her, so I couldn't find her.
And another point here, Chris, is that she's putting emotion into this, like she's freaking out. She said, I freaked out, when at this point in time, she hasn't even realized that Summer's missing. Okay, it's just that Summer's not answering her. Summer's downstairs and she's not answering her, so she might be getting a little upset, and you could hear that kind of in her language. Summer, answer me. But why would you freak out all of a sudden that your daughter's not answering her? You would just go downstairs to see, what is she doing? Why isn't she answering me? But she skipped right to the freak out point. Before she even told us that Summer was missing. And without giving us detail, she skipped over now a lot of detail. And earlier, we don't need to go back to it, but earlier she said, the next thing I know, that's a skip in time. And so, again, missing information. And she's skipping right into, I freaked out and I blew up, she says. What's happening here is she's going to feed us just enough information mixed with a huge emotion. And emotion is the #1 sales technique in the world. And she's hoping that you will just bank on that emotion so that she won't have to give any other detail as to what actually occurred, what she did, that she went down and did she search Summer's room? Did she look under the closet? Did she look under the clothes, look under the bed? Whatever the case is, where Summer was hiding, she'd come upstairs and she Did she look upstairs in all the closets and everything? That's the normal procedure. Didn't do that. So that tells us that didn't happen, and that running down the stairs pretty much can't buy that either. That didn't happen as well. So big problems with this area right here in her story.
Okay, story time, real quick, because I agree so much here. When my son was about 4 years old, we lived in an apartment on the second floor, just a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. His dad had just gone out the door, down the stairs, and walked to the store. We had a little market right outside the property. So he just walked out of the front entrance over there to the property, the store next door. I'm in the bedroom, bathroom area cleaning up. My son is in the house with me. I hear my husband leave, and I hear my son making his normal sounds, and I'm in here. I think I was scrubbing the tub or something. And all of a sudden, his voice just got more and more faint in my ear. And I said, something ain't right. So I called for him. I called for him 3 or 4 or 5 times. Every time, my anxiety got worse because he wasn't responding. I didn't hear anything else, and his little noises had stopped. So my nerves got worse every time. It was a build-up, though, Candace. I didn't immediately freak out. So they got a point here. When I think about this, it just hits home. And by the time I got to freak out mode, I had called his name several times. I had ran through this 2-bedroom about 3 times, opening cabinets, really tripping, like, where the hell could he go? He's 4. He didn't go with his dad. He doesn't open doors. I've never seen him do it. I know his dad didn't leave the door open, but all of this is running through my head, and at the same time, something must have happened because my baby's not answering me. So now I'm freaking out a little bit. I pick up the phone and call his dad, like, yo, please tell me you took him with you. Please tell me you got him. And he was a jackass. He liked to play a lot. And I wasn't crying. I was just in freak out mode. And he had my baby. So he decided to say, no, what's up? I'm like, nah. He was way too casual in his response. I'm like, stop effing with me. You got him, right? Oh my God. Then I exhaled so deep and told him the whole story that I just told y'all. But that's how it went. And that was nearly 12 years ago. And the only thing I do not remember vividly is what exactly I was doing. I really feel like I was cleaning the tub. I know I was cleaning something, and I feel like I was bending down, is what I see. But it's the only foggy part. Everything else is crystal clear. You don't just freak out because they don't answer you. They're kids. Sometimes they just don't damn listen. So why did she freak out right away?
Because sometimes she'll sit right here and just sit here and play just for, you know. And usually when she comes out and she goes directly that way up to the swing.
Oh, okay, so this is like
hold up right there.
Will she come running out?
Let me call something out right there. She's selling this to you again, selling this narrative. She says, I know I did come out here and I said, Summer. And she gave you a reason for saying that. She doesn't have to give you a reason for calling for Summer. This is what we expect that she would do. I expect the language to be that I was yelling at the top of my lungs for Summer. But she doesn't have to explain why she did that. The explanation is what weakens it, because it's something that any mother would do, any parent would do. They're going to be frantic and looking for their 5-year-old. But she had to explain it. She says, Summer, because sometimes she'll sit right here and just sit here and play. So she qualified why she would have yelled Summer. And that's totally unexpected. And it's one of those things that it tells me that she is trying to sell this. She's trying hard to sell it. And I have to ask, why is she trying to sell it so hard? She shouldn't have to. There's no reason to sell it unless there is a reason. And so it tells me she has to sell this because this is not likely what happened. This is scripted, more scripted language right here. This selling things as what they normally do or what they usually do. She did that again, and she actually used the word usual. She said, and usually when she comes out and goes directly that way up to the swing.
And usually when she comes out and she goes directly that way up to the swing.
And so she's going back to this, selling it as, you know, what normally would happen, meaning, and what she's doing there, she's saying, she's selling that Summer would sit right there, because usually she'll come out this door and she'll go up this way, and sometimes she'll sit right here and play, and this is the normal thing that she would do. So it says oversell, and then she doubled up on this oversell. And so that just tells me, you were right, Chris, that when you felt that this didn't really happen, it didn't really happen. Because she had to, and the reason I know that is because she's overselling it.
Right up to
and
here.
This is all the further she would go. She wouldn't leave.
Okay.
She wouldn't go nowhere else.
Okay. I want to go around this side. What is this blue thing here?
Oh, that was we were putting trash in it.
Okay.
And we did have a trash man at the time, but he stopped running.
Oh wow. Watch, she locks the door. Okay. I'm gonna film around this side. No.
And I started tracing the property, going everywhere I could. I sent my boys down through we live on the hill, so it was down by the creek. Okay. I sent them all down through there looking and everything. I said, still didn't find her? And they said no. So I ran over and I called.
So she's, saying to her kids, did you guys find her? Okay. And, remember the narrative on this thing later on turns into a stranger abduction. Yet she's sending her kids out to go look for the stranger who took Summer potentially, in their minds, right? Where, seriously?
What's interesting about that is that statement that she said. She said she sent her boys down there, and instead of saying that they didn't find her, she skipped that and she went into a quote that she didn't ascribe to herself or anyone else. She said, still didn't find her, as if she was posing the question to them, but she didn't say that she did.
Down by the creek. I sent them all down through there looking and everything. I said, still didn't find her? And they said no.
And which is interesting because it detracts from the psychological commitment that she said that, or that she sent them down there, or that they looked down there. It detracts from that psychological commitment, and I don't like to hear that. I want to hear strong psychological commitment to looking for Summer at that point in time, and I want to hear more detail. She has skipped a lot of detail, looking around the house, looking out in the yard, in the little nooks and crannies, maybe under the porch or whatever it is, because they live on a hill, anything like that. And she sent them right down to the creek bottoms, and so she's backing away from that psychological commitment. Big problems right there. More red flags.
And is there any feel important that you would want to tell the world? I haven't asked you. How does she answer, Steve? The second of the
she
last
answered that was a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. That was her opportunity now to reflect back on her fondest thoughts about Summer, and she could hardly say anything. That just floored me. That she hardly said anything. In fact, she started with not really. Not really. And then she dropped the pronoun I, meaning she psychologically ejected herself from this thought process, from the language. She said, just hope that everybody's looking for her, that we can find her and bring her home safely. She was very precious to me, in the past tense.
Hope that everybody that's looking for her, that we can find her and bring her home safely.
Okay.
She was very precious to me.
Okay.
Folks, that is a huge thing. This has only been a few weeks since Summer disappeared. And for her to process 3 weeks, man, for her to process already, that tells me that she has knowledge that Summer is not coming back. And it's just so that's Chris, you talk about red flags, big red flag. You would expect when she's given this last opportunity to talk about her daughter, that she would talk about the fondest things about Summer. I just want everybody to know how sweet she is, and I hope that she's being taken care of. And whoever has her, whoever you are, make sure that she has her teddy bear, and make sure, and if she needed any medications, please, make sure she has this medication, or bring her back, because she needs this. And I want them to know how much I love her and I miss her, and I want her back, all in the present tense, without any processing that there's anything in the past tense that there's no chance that Summer's not coming back. 3 weeks is way too soon for any parent to process that their beloved little 5-year-old is not coming back. Or if you contrast this language,
Please, I beg you, just please bring her back home.
Not your best performance, Candace. I'll just leave that right there.
with the language of Brandy Vaughn regarding her son Michael.
Whoever has Michael or knows anything and has information about Michael, please come forward. We need him home. We need our baby. Please. Thank you to the community and extended communities that continue to support our family, and law enforcement, all of the agencies that are helping to bring Michael home. They stand strong and they stand with us and we stand with them. So if you are seeing this, please, if you know something, please, if you know anything, please say something. You can be anonymous. There's so many avenues. Please, everyone, help us get Michael home. And Monkey, we love you, baby. You're coming home. None of us are gonna give up, I promise. Thank you all for being here today.
Thank you.
It is much different. It's all present tense, looking for the answers. I hope he's being taken care of and fed, and all these things that we expect from a mother, and all these, because mothers are going to be concerned and they're not going to give up that hope. There's always hope. And 3 weeks, my goodness, if you hear somebody processing by referring to their loved one, especially a little 5-year-old, in the past tense in a 3-week period of time, that's a huge red flag. That's a really tough thing to process. We as human beings, we don't process the death of our loved ones, or that they're missing, that something's wrong with them. It's hard to process the worst case scenario very fast, especially for a biological mother. Biological mothers, I call it the mother bear syndrome. They guard their young and they don't let go of them, and physically or emotionally, psychologically, they don't let go of them. A biological mother, especially this close to the disappearance, she's going to have that, she should have that perception of presence, that her daughter is all present.
And tell me the significance of this shirt. Why is it so important?
Because my daughter loved Paw Patrol. We really miss her very much. She was the angel, our blessing. The love of our life. She's what made our world go around.
Okay.
She was very precious to me.
That's a red flag for me, because like I said earlier, the mama bear syndrome, mama bears do not give up hope. They do not process quickly at all. Men will process quicker than the women will. But the mamas, biological mothers, they will not process that their baby is not coming back. And when she references her in the past tense, that is a signal that she has processed. She has reason to know or reason to believe that her baby is not coming back. Chris, that violates human nature.
Okay. She was very precious to me.
So what I expect to hear from mom is complete focus on Summer. It has only been 4 weeks. And so in her opinion, what she has given to reporters before this and then to you later on in this interview, is that she believes that Summer was taken from the home and that someone is holding her. Okay? So what I expect to hear is what I hope that Summer's being taken care of. I hope that she is fed. I hope she has her favorite toys. I hope that they've given her a blanket.
Well, whoever has my daughter, I pray and hope that they have not harmed her and they bring her back to us safe and sound. I'm just scared that somebody is hurting her and there's nothing I can do about it, and it smothers me.
Whatever it is that Summer needs, 5-year-old kids have a lot of needs, and mother should be focused on all those things. I haven't heard any of that. For me, it's mind-blowing. Most deception is in the form of withholding information. But we as human beings, we miss that because the person that's speaking, Candace in this case, will give us all kinds of information that is true, little things that are true. And so because she's speaking what's true, and that may be what they normally do or usually do, and which is not speaking about that particular day, but still it's truthful information. And so the deception gets hidden or disguised within all the truthful information. So when I hear this type of language, I am on high alert.
I don't want to think she's dead, but it's a possibility.
The look on her face is appalled, but listen to her words.
I feel in my heart that somebody has came up here and took her, has lured her away from here.
It all is based on human nature. It's based on how we've been acting and what we expect from a biological mother for many, many years. And now I know that everybody has different issues and things, and some people have said, well, Candace grew up in a different environment, so she might think a little bit different. Well, that's true. We all are different, but human nature dictates, and the reality of it is that they feel the pain of their missing child. As a parent, even though we might have a troubled child, we love them, and we can't get over that love. It's just so strong. And so when they're gone, oh my gosh, the heartache that it's just, people that have a child, have lost a child, and I know, Chris, you know what this is like, have a child missing, it rips your heart out, and your thoughts and memories of that child are they're just endearing. And so when denigrating language slips off the tongue, we step back. We hear that and we step back and we think, wait a minute, that violates human nature. That's not what a parent, that's not what over hundreds of cases and I should say thousands of examples and over thousands of years how parents have reacted. It's documented, and we know this, and so that's what we're going on.
So she disappears.
So that's it. No matter what, she was just gone. So somebody had the most opportune timing in the world to get that baby, or all of this is a crock of crap. We still have more questions than answers, Candace. And that's a problem, because you were the last to see your child. So I desperately want to understand the words coming out of your mouth and the ones that aren't.
Here's the definition of superfluous: unnecessary, especially through being more than enough.
It describes Candace to a T. She always overtalks about the wrong stuff. But when it comes time to get the pertinent information, you can't pay her to remember. Meanwhile, she remembers really ridiculous things, and she quotes conversations from everybody and everything during the day that Summer went missing, except Summer. She never told us anything this baby said to her that day. She never bought this baby no food or made any noodles when she got home, as far as we know, because there's gaps. She is completely misleading. And it leaves you there at a crossroad over and over again with, wait, what did she just say? And wait, what do I think? And well, it could have been this or it could have been that, but because she leaves too many open gaps, and she does it on purpose. And I think that we will all draw the same conclusion at the end of the day, which a lot of us already have. Candace has not told us everything. And there is something going on with her leaving Hunters and going home. There's something going on. And it might have started at the swimming hole, but there's a big old disconnect right in there. And I have to stop this video here because I could go on forever. I didn't think it would be as long as Don's, but it turned out Candace, the woman with no words, has said a lot. And this video could have easily been like 4 or 5 hours long. Seriously. We all want what's best for Summer. Let me say it one more time. Because although this video was about Candace, and the previous one was about Don, and the next may be about Grandis, and Hunter, and the swimming hole, and the vapes, and the Sonic, and the swimsuit, and the domestic abuse, and the jail records, it's all superfluous. At the end of the day, every single day, this is about Summer Wells. Thank you all for being here today. And I will see you in the comments. Beautiful people.
Candace, did Summer ever have a funny saying? Did she always say something like a certain
funny saying?
Yeah, a certain thing that was funny that she would say, or she always would say? Somebody asked that.
Oh, she'd say all kinds of stuff that was funny. You really don't have a certain saying.
Oh.
She looked like she was a pistol whenever she was out.
She like Pistol Annie. Yeah, she was cool. She's awesome. She's a good person in her heart, soul.
She just seems so sweet whenever we watch, some of the videos and some of the things you put out there. And her swinging on that swing, she loved that swing.
She was the most sweetest, innocent person ever that I've ever met in my life. And I'm not just saying that because she was my daughter and my Summer, but she was.
Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. But also what, Sheriff?
Everybody's still a suspect. Person of interest, however you want to put it.